Chapter 967. Grey Crow, Mysterious Armor King, and the others brought back 41 new students. After returning to the academy, they even ran to Lu Chen to ask for credit. Seeing Grey Crow jumping around in front of him, Lu Chen suppressed his urge to do something. On the same day, the Demonic Academy removed the seal on the arena. A sea of clouds and the others began to organize the students to repair the arena, improve the rules, and activate the academy rankings. Lu Chen was still preparing for his lessons. Early the next morning, Grey Crow took a group of students who had nothing to do and ran to enroll students in high spirit. Lu Chen couldn't stop them. "I want to recruit 100 people today," Grey Crow shouted as he left. "Dean, you don't look too good." A sea of clouds asked the pale Lu Chen with concern. I'm fine. I'm just tired." "Haha, you're the dean. You're always worried. It's good that you're fine. I won't disturb you from preparing for your lessons. Prepare well. The 10th hall will depend on you. I'll go take a look at the arena." Old C. Cough cough. "Do you still have the materials from before? What about the other instructors? There should be some left, right?" "Nameless. Don't forget that the people I found for you are all elites in the industry. Do we need that? What a joke. Alright, I'll go back to work." As the instructors were too outstanding, they taught without a script. His plan to copy homework fell through again. Everyone left. Lu Chen stood in the wind with a hopeless expression. Why do I feel like they're ganging up on me?" Lu Chen shook his head and returned to his room helplessly. "Forget it. I'll teach them. But what should I teach?" At noon that day, Lu Chen received a message in his dean panel. "Congratulations to the Demonic Academy for its steady development. Zhongxian Guo will send people to the Demonic Academy tomorrow to participate in the opening ceremony of the 10th hall." Lu Chen frowned. They hadn't even reached the number of people to open the 10 halls yet, but Zhongxian Guo had already said that they would be coming tomorrow. Not only that, but the disciples who were in charge of guarding the gate also reported again and again that a certain academy had sent someone to submit an application to participate in the opening ceremony of the 10 halls of the Demonic Academy tomorrow. Looking at the thick stack of applications on the table, Lu Chen was speechless. He couldn't wait to call Grey Crow back and suspend the recruitment. However, reason still prevailed over impulse. Since the 10 great halls were going to be opened sooner or later, the earlier the better. Now, the name of the Demonic Academy had even changed many of the top sacred academies. Their testing space had become a standard for newcomers to test their strength. At the same time, during the big hunting competition, the nameless sword of the Dean had pushed the Demonic Academy to the teeth of the storm. As expected, Grey Crow was very supportive and recruited nearly 40 newcomers. Recently, the recruitment had been particularly hot. Newcomers from all regions were running here. On the same day, in a sea of clouds, Tian and the others led the disciples to rush into the 10 great halls. They were full of energy to clean the 10 great halls. "Everyone, hurry up. Tomorrow, people from Zhongxiangu and the other academies will be coming. At that time, everyone will be sitting on the floor. You guys take a cloth and wipe the floor clean. Make sure it's spotless. Yi Fan, take a few people to clean the sacred statues of the 9 professions. Be careful, don't break them." In each of the 9 halls, there were holy statues of their respective occupations. For example, the sword manipulator was a human holding a sword with his fingers and 3 long swords hanging beside him. The puppet manipulator was a female demon. Her figure was agile, and she was holding 10 silk threads. The other end of the silk threads was connected to a wooden puppet, and so on. Old Hai, are these sacred statues real people, or are they just a symbol? Lu Chen asked curiously. "I can't say for sure. It's probably a symbol. However, there's also a saying that when someone reaches the peak of a certain profession, all the sacred statues in the academy will transform into that person's appearance. However, it seems to be just a legend. Anyway, I've never seen such a situation." Lu Chen nodded. So these sacred statues were more of a symbol. The next morning, the demonic academy suspended enrollment. From the mountain gate to the top of the mountain, 70 disciples were distributed along the way to guide the guests who came to the demonic academy. The other disciples were lined up in the martial arts arena, ready for battle. Lu Chen stood on the martial arts arena and inadvertently glanced back. He couldn't help but sigh. The former site of the sacred academy of Wunyan, which was dilapidated and full of trash, was now very different. In less than a month, the demonic academy had expanded from Lu Chen's lone commander to more than 270 people, including instructors and students. The buildings had changed from a few teaching pavilions and a few small courtyards for students to more than a dozen teaching pavilions, a few meditation pavilions, 4 areas for instructors and students to live in, secondary spirit veins, scripture pavilion, arena, dining hall, academy warehouse, academy points exchange office, 10 major teaching halls, mountain protection array. Only one of the important sealed areas could be unlocked at a time. However, some of the other basic buildings, such as the warehouse, dining hall, and dormitory, could be unlocked at a time. This made the demonic academy look like it was on a small scale now. It looks like it's starting to look like something, a sea of clouds said with a smile. Lu Chen smiled slightly. Yes. Today, the people who came to the demonic academy to participate in the opening of the teaching hall were already waiting in front of the mountain gate. As soon as the mountain gate opened, the crowd rushed in. I didn't expect Nameless to really reopen the sacred academy of Wunyan. Their enrollment is very aggressive now. Those geniuses with good qualifications are all squeezing in here. The quality of our students during this period of time is much worse than before. Our area is so far away from your area, but we've been affected. I'd like to see if the demonic academy has real talent. At this time, the disciple in charge of receiving people at the mountain gate saw 5 beautiful women coming in and immediately said to his companion, "They're from the Fenglai Academy." These 5 women had obviously been carefully dressed. In this kind of formal occasion, there was no need to fight and kill. The clothes they wore could be more exquisite. Wow, their dean is even more beautiful than in the fantasy map. Shoo! Pay attention to your image. We're now representing the demonic academy. Got it. I'm just saying. The 2 quickly corrected their attitude. Li Wei brought Qinglian, Kai Yan, and 2 other disciples into the demonic academy. Li Wei, there's actually nothing interesting to see in the lectures of the 9 halls. Those instructors are all experienced and familiar with the process. There shouldn't be any problems. I'm especially looking forward to what Nameless will say, Kai Yan said. Qinglian smiled. It was just that this small action attracted who knows how many sidelong glances. Qinglian seemed to be used to the gazes of the men around her. She didn't care and continued to say to her companion, "I think it's funny when I think of his level. He's a star field grand cultivator. It's okay if he's a grand cultivator, but he's a wild one. That means he didn't belong to any sect before. What do you think such a person can say?" Even though the 4 beside her were all stunning beauties, the most eye-catching one was still Li Wei. Today, she was wearing a white floral dress. Together with her flawless appearance, she looked like a fairy who was untainted by even a speck of dust. Li Wei said indifferently, "Qinglian, don't underestimate Nameless. Although we didn't see his sword at that time, we've heard from others that he killed Dao-seeking Changhong, a rank 4 intermediate corpse king with 1 sword. To be honest, I'm really looking forward to his class." Chapter 968. Not long after, a white mystic bird flew across the sky. Then, 3 people jumped down from the back of the mystic bird. The 2 students looked at this scene in shock. Jumping down from such a height? Won't they die from the fall? It turned out that the students' worries were unnecessary. Before the 3 of them landed, they released a burst of spirit energy and quickly slowed down. Then, they landed steadily on the ground. Among the three, there were 2 men and 1 woman. They all looked like humans. The 2 men were around 40 years old, and the woman looked around 20 years old. However, her expression was calm, unlike the frivolous look of a 20-year-old youngster. At the 6th celestial layer, it was getting harder and harder to judge the actual age of others. The 3 of them had an extraordinary aura. After landing, some of the elders around them hurriedly bowed. Greetings to Lord Yi, Mi Gong and Fairy Ling. The other juniors lowered their heads, not daring to raise them. The leading man, Lord Yi, said indifferently, "Today is the opening day of the Demonic Academy's 10 Great Halls. There is no need to be formal." After saying that, he walked into the Demonic Academy with his companions. Just receiving the guests took a few hours. Lu Qin roughly estimated that there were at least 1,000 people in the outer court. At this time, Lu Qin was also very busy. As the dean, no matter what, he had to exchange a few words with the guests. It was not an exaggeration to say that he was the most important guest usher. Fortunately, there was a sea of clouds and Etion by his side. The 2 of them were experienced and knew many people. With their referrals, Lu Qin did not have to spend too much effort. "Nameless Dean, congratulations." Li Wei stood in front of Lu Qin and smiled. "Your arena is already built. After the 10 Great Halls lecture, we can discuss the matters of the Academy's exchange." Lu Qin turned around and saw a beautiful woman. After a while, he recognized her. This woman was very different from the last time he saw her. Today, she looked gentle and quiet. It was a completely different style from the heroic spirit she had before. "Dean Li Wei, welcome. I wonder what class the Nameless Dean will be teaching today? Is it sword riding?" Qing Lian asked curiously. "It's almost time for the hall to open. You'll know when the time comes." Li Wei smiled. "Then we shall wait and see." While speaking, Kai Yen quietly pulled Li Wei's sleeve. "Zhongxianji's people are here." Everyone looked behind them and saw Zhongxiangu and the other 2 wandering around the martial arts practice field. They didn't come over to greet them and just looked around. Lu Qin looked up at the 3 people in surprise. These 3 people were from Zhongxiangu? Why is it these 3 people? Li Wei frowned slightly, but she seemed to feel that she had misspoken. She said goodbye to Lu Qin and said goodbye to him for the time being. This woman didn't say what she wanted to say. Lu Qin had a bad premonition. A sea of clouds walked up and saw Zhongxiangu and the other 2 people. He immediately frowned. "Lord Yi, Mi Gong and Ling Xianzi. Why did Zhongxiangu let these 3 people come?" Lu Qin hurriedly asked, "What's wrong with these 3 people?" Etion also walked up. "These 3 people's strength is unfathomable. Ordinary classes won't even enter their eyes. Moreover, they are extremely strict. Sometimes they can ask a question that can make the lecturer speechless." "Nameless, almost everyone is here. Let me take a look at the class I prepared. I also need to perfect it. Oh, Nameless, it's almost time. I've already asked the disciples to bring them to the 10 halls. Fortunately, the first class is Long Xiang's." A sea of clouds and Etion both ran away. Lu Chen's face was full of shock. These 2 experienced old fellows were actually nervous? What should he do? Fortunately, the class he was going to teach today was what he was best at. Even Zhongxiangu wouldn't be able to find fault with it. With this thought, Lu Chen was slightly relieved. Together with the disciples, he led the guests to the 10 halls. At noon, the first class of the Flying Dragon Special Forces started. Long Xiang was a beast tamer and spirit tamer. The first hall was about beast tamers. He started with rare battle pets and focused on how to capture battle pets in the 6th heaven. Everyone has just come from the 5th heaven. Many of you will find that after the battle soul of the 5th heaven is activated, the strength of beast tamers and puppeteers is greatly weakened. Others can still fight with their own bodies. However, these 2 professions mainly rely on their battle pets and puppets. They can only unleash the full strength of their battle pets when their battle pets and puppets become one. Naturally, their strength is limited. This statement is reasonable, but it's not absolute. As long as you can achieve a perfect resonance between your battle pets and your battle pets, the strength of the beast tamers and puppets will not be weakened. On the contrary, they will become stronger. Everyone has found that there are many powerful battle pets in the sixth heaven. Theoretically, they can all be captured. Of course, this is just a theory. After all, high-level beasts have spiritual intelligence. No matter how high or low they are, they will not be willing to become battle pet. Therefore, when beast tamers capture battle pets in the sixth heaven, they must raise them from cubs and let them grow. In this class, I will mainly talk about 2 points. The first is the technique of capturing battle pets in the sixth heaven. The second is the resonance between battle pets and battle pets in the sixth heaven. Long Xiang was also an experienced teacher. Although he seemed to be a little nervous, he was still able to talk non-stop. The things he taught were still very attractive to sixth heaven newcomers. Among them, there were some practical tricks and some unique insight. The students listened very seriously, and even Lu Chen nodded his head frequently. In fact, for Lu Chen, this was the first time he had heard this. He listened more seriously than the students. Long Xiang is still a veteran. The content is detailed and step-by-step. He also has his own ideas on the use of resonance. This class is very good. After all, it's the opening of the 10 Great Halls. He must have dug out all his trump cards. Many people looked at Zhongxian Gu and the other two. The three of them sat there without speaking. During this time, Mi Gong actually nodded slightly, expressing his approval of Long Xiang's method of training battle pet resonance. This was very rare. If nothing unexpected happened, there should be no problems with Long Xiang's first class. Next was Yi Tian's lecture in the Hall of Healing. Yi Tian's lecture was even more profound and easy to understand. His unique insights were endless, especially regarding the medicine master's triple cultivation of medicine, poison, and venomous insects. He gave many practical suggestions, as expected of Yi Tian. I wanted to pull him into our sacred court in the beginning. What a pity! I didn't expect that after being a teacher for so many years, he still has so much knowledge. In the field of teachers, Yi Tian is indeed top-notch. This class was greeted with several cheers. Many students listened with rapt attention. It was obvious that they had benefited greatly. A sea of clouds really wasn't bragging. After that, Lan Ji's prophet, the martial artist of the thousand stone bow, Saiji's martial monk, and a sea of clouds' talisman formation were all very interesting. With their excellent performances before, they were left to talk about explosives, sword spirits, and puppet. Although there aren't many teachers in the divine and infernal realms, all of them are elite. Their teaching techniques and content are impeccable. With this kind of standard, we would like to have some exchange activities with them. Lord Yi and the others don't seem to have any problems. That's rare. The last hall was called the Nameless Hall. The purpose of this hall was that there were no restrictions on classes. According to tradition, the last and 10th hall would be personally taught by the deans of each academy. The teachers of the demonic academy, the students, the outer court guests, and the 3 immortal masters of Zhongxian Gu all entered the spacious Nameless Hall. Everyone was now 120% focused. This class would be taught by the dean of the demonic academy, the Nameless Hall. Chapter 969. Under everyone's watchful eyes, Lu Chen walked up calmly. Lu Chen did not want to give a lecture. However, he did not have stage fright when he went up on stage. After all, he had seen a lot of situations that were much bigger than this. Because there was no rumor about this lecture before, and John Doe himself was full of contradictions, the people present, whether they were the proud sons of heaven, the deans and mentors of the major academies, or the immortal masters of the immortal pavilion, were all anxiously waiting for Lu Chen to speak. Finally, Lu Chen spoke. Lu Chen said seriously, "Since this is the 10th hall, I'll talk about the integration of the 9 professions in actual combat. As soon as Lu Chun started speaking, someone immediately raised an objection. The person who spoke was one of the 3 celestial masters of Zhongxian Gu, Cold Fairy. Nameless Director, if I'm not mistaken, you're going to talk about the integration of the 9 professions? May I ask if you're going to talk about group combat? Cold Fairy stood up. Nameless Director, I think you're mistaken about one thing. The purpose of a lecture is to improve the students' individual abilities. None of us can guarantee that we'll have a team around us when we're in danger. Even if we have a few people with us, there's no guarantee that we'll be able to gather all 9 professions. Even if it's a group combat, we'll have to understand our own professions first. Only then can we. Before Cold Fairy could finish, Lu Chun said directly, "You, please sit down first." The air suddenly froze. Cold Fairy was still explaining her point of view when Lu Chun asked her to sit down. A sea of clouds was sweating profusely. That was Zhongxian Ji's Cold Fairy. Nameless was talking to her like that? Cold Fairy could not believe her own ears. She glared at Lu Chun. If this was not the Nameless hall of the Demonic Academy, she would have rushed up to him. "Nameless, do you know who I am?" Cold Fairy narrowed her eyes and asked coldly. Lu Chun snorted. "I don't care who you are. First of all, when I'm talking, I don't like to be interrupted so rudely. This is my class. Also, are you sure you understand what I'm saying? Who told you I was going to talk about team battles? You didn't even listen to me and you're already spouting nonsense. Do you know that you're wasting my time?" Xiao Zhan nudged Yi Fan. "The dean is indeed the dean. You even dare to scold the people of Zhongxian Gu." Yi Fan nodded. "The dean may seem low-key, but he's actually not a good person." In a corner, Qing Lian widened her eyes and said to Li Wei, "Oh my God, Nameless is really a lunatic. She even scolded Fairy Lung." Li Wei frowned slightly. This guy really left a deep impression. Cold Fairy was stunned by Lu Chen's words. She had participated in countless classes, but no one had ever dared to speak to her like that. At the side, Lord Yi smiled slightly. He gestured for Cold Fairy to sit down first and said, "Dean Nameless, can I interpret what you said just now as you're going to fuse the 9 professions into one person? That's great. I'd like to hear how Nameless is going to fuse the 9 professions into one person in actual combat." Lord Yi deliberately emphasized the word, one person. He wanted to see how Lu Chun would make a fool of himself. Lu Chun shook his head. He had chosen this topic too hastily. He had no choice. This was the 10th palace. No matter what, he had to talk about something with some technical content. He couldn't possibly learn how to fish and cook at the same time. He could only continue with his lecture. Lu Chun ignored the people from Zhongxian Gu and continued with his lecture. The 9 professions each have their own strength. There are also many people who dual cultivate or even triple cultivate. Indeed, many skills have attribute requirement. Different professions have different attributes, so there are indeed barriers. However, many immortal cultivators often say what they major in and what they minor in. Why are there differences between major and minor? Why are major and minor skills stronger than minor skills of the same level? Lu Chun looked below the stage. Everyone seemed to be anxiously waiting for him to continue. No matter which profession, the release of which skill is inseparable from one thing. That is spirit energy. The 9 professions can be simply divided into 3 types according to the use of spirit energy. I've consulted a few instructors in the academy before. They said that there is no such division at the moment. Therefore, I'll call these 3 types of spirit energy protective spirit energy, adhering spirit energy, and drawing spirit energy. According to Lu Chen's division, the so-called protective spirit energy was the use of spirit energy to strengthen the physical body. It was mostly used for close-range attacks and defense. Adhering spirit energy was the skill of long-range professions such as archers and explosives experts. On the other hand, spirit chi manipulation relied on visible or invisible spirit chi to trigger a series of changes in attack. The most obvious one was a puppet master. However, most of the skills of talisman masters, beast tamers, and elemental mages were also included in this category. As soon as this point was put forward, there was a commotion in the nameless hall. Dividing the 9 professions into 3 categories is unprecedented, isn't it? Actually, what the nameless dean said seems to make some sense. I major in close-range combat. In fact, I use spirit energy to wrap my body in close-range combat to strengthen the physical body. It's the same for both attack and defense. I'm a divine archer and spiritual explosion expert. The specialty of our skills is that we use spirit energy in our skills, so the damage of our skills is far greater than normal. Drawing spirit energy was the most widely used skill. By using one's own spirit energy to connect with puppets and battle pets, or by using a very small amount of spirit energy to trigger an explosion of natural spirit energy, many people of the corresponding professions resonated. Yi Fan, Xiao Zhan, Chu Tian, and the other disciples of the demonic academy suddenly became extremely focused. Dividing the skills of the 9 professions into 3 types of spirit energy usage. Just by doing this, the battle seems to be much simpler. I've experienced many battles. Thinking about it carefully, this is indeed the case. The dean seems to be talking about the most fundamental things. No, where's my notebook? I have to write it down. Even the 3 master celestials of Zhongxian Gu, who had questioned Lu Chen's words earlier, were frowning as they carefully recalled the content of Lu Chen's speech. I've never heard of such a division before. How did he come up with it? Mi Gong shook his head. Most people who dual cultivate, triple cultivate, or even quadruple cultivate wouldn't dare to say that they have some understanding of all the professions. The most important thing is that many people are able to perceive the characteristics of their own spirit energy circulation by using skills over many years. If they have just learned a skill, even if they have mastered spirit energy refinement, they won't be able to perceive the flow of spirit energy in their body in detail. Lord Yi suddenly said, if it's spirit energy refinement and an état state, it can achieve the effect of introspection. Wait, could it be that he has mastered these 2 states at the same time? The audience was too noisy, so Lu Chen had no choice but to raise his voice. He continued, simplifying complicated things makes things much easier. In other words, as long as you have mastered these 3 types of spirit energy usage, any profession skill, as long as you have a skill book, will not be difficult to use. Just as Lu Chen opened his mouth, the audience exploded again. The 9 professions are divided into 3 types? He found a common point between the professions? This is too exaggerated. Then, according to this theory, as long as it's a spirit energy protection type skill, I can use the same type of skill regardless of profession? Then, doesn't that mean I can practice several professions? Chapter 970. The 9 major professions were reclassified by Lu Chen, and there were only 3. Proficiency in 1 type meant proficiency in 3 types? Only fools wouldn't listen to this kind of class. Lu Chen had experienced countless battles. Because he didn't have a main profession at all, he used the skills of each profession in turn, whichever skill was suitable for him. However, other people weren't like this. Even if there were some cultivators who practiced multiple professions, they often only practiced dual or triple professions, and their primary and secondary professions were distinct. There weren't many people who could use their secondary professions as strong as their main professions. Especially for professions with huge differences, their secondary professions were often more like backup skills, unable to reach the same level as their main professions. Lu Chen also thought about this question. Apart from attribute restrictions, what exactly restricted people from practicing multiple professions? It was still that sentence that allowed Lu Chen to find the answer. Everything in the world had spiritual energy, especially after mastering spiritual energy refinement and an Ata state, as well as constantly practicing formless and refining skills to every detail. Lu Chen gradually found the differences between the use of the 9 major professions skills. It was precisely because of such a complicated process that so far, no one dared to classify the 9 major professions in this way. Originally, this was just a problem that Lu Chen occasionally discovered, and it wasn't very useful to him. As a result, he had no choice but to make it the topic of this class. During the class, Lu Chen explained in detail the characteristics of the spiritual energy circulation of each major profession, and then compared it with the skills of similar professions, and even made a simple demonstration. The audience was almost silent. Whether it was the dean or Master Celestial Zhongxian Go, they were all listening very attentively without realizing it. It turns out to be like this. No wonder when I dual practice close combat and long range, there is a stagnation in my body every time I switch. It seems that for a moment, there is a problem with the control of spiritual energy. It turns out that it's because the way of spiritual energy circulation has changed. Professions with the same type of spiritual energy usage can be seamlessly linked? This is too strong. Hiss. When I switch skills, it's not so smooth. Between masters, a hair's breadth can determine victory or defeat. Even such a momentary gap may determine victory or defeat. This class is too important. Damn, this has completely overturned my understanding of the 9 major professions. Tian looked at a sea of clouds in shock. When did the dean prepare the lesson? He didn't even know about the 10 great halls a few days ago, and he's already prepared such a terrifying lesson today? A sea of clouds was listening to the class attentively. Don't talk to me, I'm listening. These nameless examples are just right for a few of my classes. Tian's eyes widened. Was a sea of clouds possessed? For some reason, the 2-hour class passed in a flash. Alright, this class will end here. Also, I would like to add one more thing. The 3 major categories just now were just randomly assigned by me. You don't have to memorize them by rote. Also, these are only categorized according to the way of spiritual energy circulation. If there's a chance, I'll tell you about the other categories. For example, in the use of spiritual energy explosion, many people don't care about the skill after using it. In fact, if you control it more and concentrate the explosion on a large area of some key points, it can also produce a large area of damage effect. Moreover, the power of the spiritual energy explosion will be more concentrated, and the effect will be better. The group of people widened their eyes. The dean had a secret weapon. Damn, an area of effect skill can be used like this? It can't be. Dean, don't go. Teach a little more. Just a little more, Dean. Nameless Dean, you haven't finished teaching just now. You can't stop halfway through the lesson. We won't have the chance to listen next time. You're being inhumane. Damn it, I'm really anxious to death. Somewhere in the classroom, Qingying's brows were tightly knitted. The 2 assistant pavilion masters that she brought were holding notes and exchanging their learning experiences. That's not right, they were here to look for Nameless, not to listen to the lesson, all right. Li Wei's eyes followed the back of the person on the stage as he walked down the stage. When she saw that he really walked down the stage, her eyes were filled with disappointment. Before they came, they thought that this nameless star-field great demonic master wouldn't be able to teach anything. In the end, they were like students thirsting for knowledge, hoping that the instructor would drag on the lesson. This is too much. He directly came up with a new theory? Qinglian looked at her own notes and compared it with the other 2 instructors. Is this enough to be taught to the students? Li Wei saw that Lu Chen had walked down the stage and came back to her senses. When she heard Qinglian's words, she shook her head helplessly. Don't waste your energy. We only know half of it. How can we teach it to the students? I reckon that only the students of the Demonic Academy will have the chance to listen to the second half of the lesson, and the ingenious use of spiritual power. The example he gave immediately piqued my interest. I want to listen too. This nameless is too much. He's not going to talk about it, so why did he have to keep us in suspense? Kai Yan's eyes were filled with resentment. I hate him. The students of the Demonic Academy were fine. After all, it was a lesson taught by their own dean. The other deans and instructors who came to listen to the lesson almost suffered internal injuries from holding back. The whole 10th hall was filled with sighs, thumping chests, and stamping feet. Lu Chen didn't finish the lesson, and this group of people was suffocating. A sea of clouds was still immersed in the notes, unable to extricate himself. Etienne sighed. He could only go and invite the 3 celestial masters from Zhongxian Go himself. In the end, they needed to announce the opening of the 10th hall. However, from afar, the 3 of them sat there as if they had been petrified. Leng Xianzi, who had been scolded harshly by Lu Chen earlier, was now not angry at all. She frowned and kept muttering to herself. This is going to subvert the 9 major professions. The 3 types of spiritual power include the various branches of the 9 major professions. As long as you master the operation techniques of these 3 types of spiritual power, you will have great potential in actual combat. Leng Xianzi said, I almost ruined such a wonderful lesson. Lord Yi shook his head. I really didn't expect that I would be able to listen to such a wonderful lesson. Even we didn't think of this. The point is, someone can actually come up with such a heaven-defying theory. I really don't know how he did it. He is really a wild grand cultivator. I don't believe it no matter what he says. At this moment, Etienne walked over and bowed slightly to the 3 of them. 3 celestial masters, our dean's lesson is over. I wonder if we can announce the opening of the 10th hall of the Demonic Academy? Only then did the 3 celestial masters stand up and calm themselves down. The people saw the 3 celestial masters bowing slightly to Etienne in return, which was rare. I wonder if the nameless dean can start the lesson again? Etienne frowned slightly. Judging from the reactions of the crowd, it was no exaggeration to say that the dean's lesson had caused a sensation. All the deans and mentors had already disregarded their status and begged the dean to continue the lesson. It was already like this, and he still didn't pass? Etienne immediately questioned. This, 3 celestial masters, based on my many years of experience, the dean's lesson is unique in terms of content, teaching method, and teaching impact. How can he still not pass? You misunderstood. We just wanted to hear the nameless dean finish the lesson. I am sorry for my previous behavior. Even we have benefited a lot from this lesson. As for the opening of the 10th hall, there is no doubt that there is no problem. Leng Xianzi said personally. Chapter 971. Let Lu Chen teach another class? That was absolutely impossible. If possible, Lu Chen hoped that he would never have to teach again in his life. But anyway, the 10 halls of the Demonic Academy had finally opened successfully. The dean of the Mozhang Saint Academy looked at the 10 halls of the Demonic Academy and couldn't help but shake his head and sigh. The future development of this Demonic Academy is really hard to imagine. And the dean, nameless, I heard that he killed 3 powerful opponents in a second in the big hunting match. It was already incredible. Now I find out that he is actually a master of theory. The tutor behind him whispered, Dean, do you think we should discuss the exchange with the Demonic Academy? In fact, I also want to listen to Nameless' other classes. If there is an exchange between us, we can even invite Nameless to teach in our academy. At most, we can give him a higher salary. The dean shook his head. Nameless' teaching level is not something we need to consider. It stands to reason that as long as he is willing to come, everything can be discussed. The key is... He turned to look at his tutor. The Purple Sky Palace. The tutor immediately understood. The dean continued, although the demonic academy is now famous, at the same time, it will inevitably be targeted if it is so high profile. The Purple Sky Palace may have some scruples, but after all, the Purple Sky Palace is not an ordinary force. Now the situation is not clear, we should not get too close to the demonic academy. Is it my negligence, or the dean is far-sighted? After the opening of the 10 halls, Lu Chen's task was finally completed. After sending away groups of visitors, Lu Chen was a little tired. Even the 3 immortals of Zhongxian Go, who didn't come to say hello before, had a few words with Lu Chen before leaving. Nameless, when is your next class? Leng Xianzi's attitude was not as cold as before. Lu Chen frowned slightly. Well, I don't usually teach. Then you won't teach in the latter half of the class. Leng Xianzi's eyes widened. What he said in class just now and that he would teach her in the future was all a lie. A sea of clouds hurriedly said, Fairy Ling, Nameless' body is weak. This time, she forced herself to go on stage. Please forgive her. After saying that, a sea of clouds secretly nudged Lu Chen. Lu Chen rolled his eyes and immediately understood. Cough, 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 cough. He kept coughing and even forced out some blood. This, Nameless, are you all right? Leng Xianzi asked in disbelief. Nameless took out a handkerchief and wiped the blood from the corner of her mouth. It's okay. Maybe I'm just a little tired. I'll be fine after some rest. Cough, cough, cough. Leng Xianzi's eyes were burning with anger. This guy's acting was too perfunctory. How was this the principal? He was even more cunning than the students. However, since she had already acted like this, it didn't seem right to force her to continue with the class. All right then. We at Zhongxiangu can only look forward to the performance of the Godfiends. If you can achieve the goal of recruiting 2,000 people in advance and enter the rankings, your development will be faster. Lu Chen was still a little confused. They could enter the rankings in advance? A sea of clouds said, Thank you for your advice, Fairy. We will speed up the recruitment process. At this moment, Lord Yi also spoke. Nameless Principal, I want to ask you something. Lu Chen looked at Lord Yi. Are you really going to interfere in Yi Fan's matter? At the mention of Yi Fan, Lu Chen also became serious. Since he has entered the demonic academy, he is a disciple of the Godfiends. After Lord Yi heard this, he wasn't too surprised and nodded. All right, I understand. I will report this matter to the Pavilion Master. Nameless, compared to the demonic academy, I actually look forward to your future performance more. The sixth heaven is much more vast than you think. When you reach a certain height, you might be able to understand my words. All right, let's go. Goodbye. Lu Chen watched the people from Zhongxiangu leave and narrowed his eyes slightly. Lord Ye's words were worth pondering. He was still guarding prosperous origin continent, so how vast was the outside world? Those mysterious immortal academies, those major powers that were even stronger than immortal academies. The sixth heaven was indeed not simple. Hey, why are you in a daze? A pleasant voice sounded beside his ear. Lu Chen turned his head and found a beautiful woman looking at him with a smile that was not a smile. Just as they were talking about major powers, the people from Heavenly Music Pavilion appeared. The person who came was the Hall Master of Heavenly Music Pavilion's Green Law Hall, Qing Ying. Hall Master Qing. Qing Ying smiled. Do you still remember that I said I was going to bring you a gift? Qing Ying gestured to the subordinate behind her, and that person brought up 2 wooden boxes, one big and one small. And this is a gift from our Pavilion Master to the Demonic Academy to celebrate your official establishment. In the eyes of many, the 10 halls were the soul of an academy. Only when the 10 halls were officially opened would it signify the establishment of an academy. Although Lu Chen really wanted it, he was still a little hesitant. After all, one shouldn't accept a reward without any effort. Why would their Heavenly Music Pavilion give them something for no reason? Nameless Principal, You don't have to worry too much. Actually, every time a new academy is established, we will give them a gift. After all, there are many competitions in the Heavenly Music Pavilion that require the participation of various great academies. Qingying said, however, this time, our pavilion master not only prepared a gift for the demonic academy, but also personally prepared one for the nameless principal. Our pavilion master admires the nameless principal very much. However, he isn't in Xinyuan continent and couldn't make it in time, so I had to do it on his behalf. Seeing that Lu Chen still had no intention of accepting the gift, Qingying continued, it seems like the nameless principal still has some concerns. Then, I'll be frank. This divine body elixir should be able to alleviate your current weak state. Divine body elixir? A sea of clouds widened his eyes. Hall Master Qing, you said that this is the divine body elixir that only an immortal apothecary can refine? Qingying smiled. Yes. Not only that, but the pavilion master also gave a divine body elixir formula. After all, the nameless principal has an extremely talented immortal apothecary by his side, right? Lu Chen took a deep breath. The Heavenly Music Pavilion had really put in a lot of effort. Could it be that the pavilion master of the Heavenly Music Pavilion had seen through his current negative state because of the mutated dragon crystal? That was why his body was so weak. If it was an elixir that only an immortal apothecary could refine, perhaps it could really alleviate fatigue. Lu Chen narrowed his eyes slightly. I'm afraid that I can't accept such a valuable gift. Qingying smiled. The nameless principal is indeed quick-witted. However, you don't have to reply to us so quickly. There's also a letter from our pavilion master in the box. If you're still unwilling to accept this letter, you can send me a voice transmission at any time, and I'll send someone to retrieve it. As for this gift for the Demonic Academy, you can rest assured. The only condition is that we hope that the Demonic Academy will participate more in the Heavenly Music Pavilion's various competitions. I believe that this is also what the nameless principal wants, right? Qingying directly asked someone to place the gift in a sea of clouds' hands. Then, Qingying will take her leave first. Chapter 972. Although most of the academies didn't have much interaction with the Demonic Academy due to the Purple Sky Palace, there were still a dozen academies that had reached an agreement with the Demonic Academy. Among them, 4 academies led by the Fenglai Academy had directly signed an agreement with the Demonic Academy. Currently, the Demonic Academy had only opened the beginner arena, so the exchange was limited to the beginner academies. After Etienne finished his work, he took a stack of agreements to Lu Chen's study. Nameless, are you sure you can sign with all of them? These academies are very strong. If their disciples occupy our ranking, we will still have to give them resources as usual. Etienne sorted out the documents and placed them on Lu Chen's desk. Lu Chen smiled. Sign it. It's their own business if they don't get the resources. We can take this opportunity to expand our influence. This is a return on investment. The door was suddenly pushed open, and Long Xiang walked in. I think it's not certain who will kill who on the ranking. Dean, the notice of the exchange has been sent out. Those kids are all rushing to sign up. There are too many people. Long Xiang placed a stack of registration forms on the desk. I only brought 100 registration forms. If I brought more, I'm afraid that everyone will have to apply to participate in the arena of other academies. Lu Chen smiled faintly. This was also reasonable. After all, which one of these students wasn't a genius? If they could get an extra reward, they would fight to sign up. Oh, by the way, the Fenglai Academy of the 4 academies has sent over their 10 spots for the arena. In addition, Donglin, Zichen, and the Tyrant Academy should be able to send them over in 3 days. Dean, let's choose the right candidates as soon as possible, Long Xiang said. Lu Chen nodded. Is our arena open? It's open. All 4 arenas are open at the same time. Qianshi, Lanji, Saiji, and a sea of clouds have been there as referees. They can't even leave. Now many people are fighting for the ranking. That brat Xiao Zhan has already fought 4 or 5 matches and is currently ranked first. What about Chu Tian and Yi Fan? Yi Tian asked curiously. What about Grey Crow and the others? Can they be idle? Long Xiang said, Grey Crow and the rest are actually old disciples. They said that they should go easy on their juniors and participate in the competition 2 months later. Yi Fan was forced to wait 2 weeks before he can participate in the tournament. The reason doesn't seem to be reasonable. That brat Chu Tian is very bad. He said he would wait until Xiao Zhan couldn't fight anymore before going up. Yi Tian laughed. 2 months is a concession? They had all been students for more than 10 or 20 years. Why is that child, Yi Fan, getting special treatment as soon as he arrived? How pitiful! Long Xiao said, Old Yi, just give Grey Crow and the other 2 a way out. Being together with this group of geniuses puts a lot of pressure on them. However, it's a little inappropriate to send them to the academy exchange. It's better to choose from the newcomers. Lu Chun pondered for a long time before finally saying, Then, let's draw lots. Long Xiang and Yi Tian almost fell down in fright. The dean had been thinking for a long time, and this was the only method he could come up with? Dean, for something like the Academy Exchange competition, if the students we send can't achieve good results, we will suffer a huge loss. Yes, and this also concerns the Academy's face. The people sent by the other academies are all very strong. If they go to the other academies, those disciples will represent their entire academy. If their ranking is too low, then our academy will have no place to show its face. Lu Chen said, Leave it to the students to handle. At most, you can coordinate with the selected people. Our demonic academy has to be fair and give every student a chance to train. Otherwise, why would these geniuses choose to come to us? They will have good prospects in other academies, so why would they volunteer to come here and be buried? Yi Tian thought for a while. Nameless has a point. These people are already so strong when they just entered the 6th heaven. Their potential, tenacity, and perseverance are all far superior to ordinary people. We can't decide their development based on their initial result. Lu Chen nodded. Yes. By the way, Yi Fan won't be participating in the drawing of lots for the time being. It's not appropriate for him to leave the demonic academy now. After a discussion, the academy decided to arrange the first batch of exchange students through the drawing of lots. No matter what, arranging the exchange students was a big deal. Lu Chen really wanted to take a look at the divine body pill, so he could only leave Little Green behind to study it while he went to the martial arts arena to announce the decision. The name list of the entire academy's students was on the list this time, including those who were still recruiting new students outside. Everyone had a chance. When they heard that the academy was going to draw lots, the students in the arena ran out and gathered at the martial arts arena. Yi Tian repeated Lu Chen's words of fairness to all the students. Therefore, we hope that everyone will have a chance to train themselves. Yi Tian said, however, everyone who is selected must be careful. You will be representing the demonic academy when you go out. Don't embarrass the demonic academy. If you don't have the confidence, you can give the chance to someone else. A sea of clouds and the other instructors were shocked. The 3 of them had studied for a long time and came up with this drawing of lots plan. Wasn't it too hasty, Uncle Master Yi Tian? What's the lowest rank that can be considered embarrassing? Someone asked. Yi Tian said, At least 2 or 3 people in the top 10. Everyone let out a long sigh of relief. Top 10? That's good. I thought it had to be first place. We have to be a little more careful. Top 10 in the beginner arena? Wouldn't it be fine as long as they have hands? Who would give the chance to someone else? Isn't that stupid? Uncle Master, you don't have to worry about the ranking. As long as you let me go, I will take care of the Fenglai Academy. If I don't get into the top 10, I will be kicked out of the demonic academy. You dare to talk about the top 10? I promise I will get into the top 5. Xiao Zhan was busy praying. Gods and demons, gods, gods, Buddhas, demons, ghosts, monsters, monsters, I beg you to bless me. You must pick me. It is best if I can get into the Fenglai Academy. I beg you. I will sacrifice 100 years of my senior brother Chu Tian's life. Black lines appeared on Chu Tian's face. Damn you, why are you praying with my life? Using your own. My prayers have always been effective. I am afraid it will come true. Xiao Zhan said seriously. Damn. Then don't blame me. I will sacrifice 300 years of Xiao Zhan's single life to bless me with the Fenglai Academy. Senior brother, if you are like this, then we can't be friends anymore. Yifan coldly looked at his 2 senior brothers and sighed. If I knew this would happen, I would have come to the demonic academy earlier. I wouldn't have let these 2 shallow people be my senior brothers. The results of the drawing of lots came out very quickly. Chu Tian and Xiao Zhan were indeed people with great luck. They were both chosen. The people who were chosen were overjoyed. The people who weren't chosen were like dead ashes. The people who were chosen, come to my place. There are already disciples from the Fenglai Academy, so let's pick the ones who will go to the Fenglai Academy. This is our demonic academy's first time competing with the outer court. Nameless, let's pick the stronger ones for this team. Lu Chen nodded. This was the first time. They were the vanguard, so they needed to be selected. Chu Tian, Xiao Zhan, you two. Chu Tian and Xiao Zhan didn't wait for Lu Chen to finish speaking. Their faces were filled with determination as they replied, Yes, Principal. Chu Tian, Xiao Zhan, will go through fire and water without hesitation. Chapter 973. Chu Tian and Xiao Zhan finally got what they wanted and were sent to the Fenglai Academy. With the 2 of them leading the team, their results shouldn't be too bad. The 2 of them, along with the 8 selected disciples, happily went back to pack their things. After dealing with the problem of student exchange with great difficulty, Lu Chen returned to his residence. Boss, you're back. Lu Yi served him a cup of hot tea. Little Green, do you think the divine body pill will be effective for my condition? Lu Yi thought about it and said, Boss, your body is weak. I've thought about it carefully, and it should be because your attributes are too low. Forcefully fusing with the dragon crystal caused your body to overdraw. If it's just the demon bloodstone, I think it'll be very difficult to save you. There should also be the origin crystal's strengthening effect, greatly increasing your physical potential. In short, it's a problem with your physical body. The divine body pill can greatly increase the strength of the physical body. It's said that some people with good aptitudes can even rely on the divine body pill to increase the upper limit of their physical attribute. This should be the best medicine for the illness. Lu Chen nodded. He trusted Little Green a lot in this aspect. But boss, your condition is too rare, so I can't be sure if it can be alleviated or cured. However, I can be sure that there won't be any harm. Lu Chen frowned slightly. This meant that the divine body pill might be his antidote. Only immortal apothecaries could refine the divine body pill, and immortal apothecaries were very rare. Lu Yi's alchemy talent was 1 in 10,000, but she still couldn't break through even after reaching the peak of her alchemy experience. From this, it could be seen how difficult it was to become an immortal apothecary. Immortal apothecaries were rare, so this divine body pill was even rarer. I wonder what the Heavenly Music Pavilion is planning. Lu Chen took out the wooden box containing the divine body pill and carefully opened it to take out the letter inside. The words, nameless only, were written on the letter. There was also a seal inscribed with the words, Heavenly Music Pavilion. Lu Chen thought about it and opened the letter. Boss, what do they want from you? Lu Yi asked. Lu Chen put down the letter and frowned. They want me to represent them in the Heaven Awakening Trials in 2 years. Heaven Opening Trial? What's that? Yes, this is also the first time I've heard of it. The Heavenly Music Pavilion Master only explained a little. When the time comes, many great powers will send out their most outstanding disciples to compete together. The competition will be very intense. He said that the treasures obtained in the Heavenly Enlightenment trial belong to me, and they only want the rankings. Lu Chen put down the letter, looking pensive. Boss, if that's the case, we can agree to their request. Lu Chen shook his head. No, even if I had to go, I would go as a representative of the Demonic Academy. I don't like to be controlled by others. But boss, the Divine Body Elixir is too important to you right now. Your body, it's fine. It's not that I can't fight right now, but I can't fight a protracted battle. I have to find Little Beast God and the others. A competition like the Heaven Opening Trial is very useful to our Demonic Academy's reputation. How can I let them take advantage of it? Little Green, I have you by my side. Why would I need the elixirs of other alchemists? Boss! Lui was moved. She was even more determined to break through quickly. Lu Chen took out the voice transmission talisman that Qing Ying had given him and left a message for them to take the elixir. With a load off his mind, Lu Chen leaned back in his chair and let out a long sigh of relief. Later, Grey Crow and the others returned with the newly recruited disciples. Sure enough, today's recruitment was once again fruitful. After 30 new people joined the Divine Magic Academy, the number of people in the Divine Magic Academy had already broken through the 300 mark. In addition, a sea of clouds also brought good news. An instructor from Crimson Firmament Sacred Academy, who had lived in seclusion for many years, was interested in teaching at the Demonic Academy. He would arrive at the Demonic Academy in about 2 or 3 days. The old man used to be famous in the field of instructors. When he heard that the Demonic Academy was filled with geniuses, he was finally moved. The Demonic Academy could also unlock more teaching pavilions and dormitories. The next place to unlock is... Lu Chen looked at the next location to unlock. It was the Life Skills Auxiliary area. It required 400 people to be in the academy. Nowadays, some life skills had become very important. For example, refining tools, alchemy, talisman crafting, tailoring, and so on. They were all essential professions for cultivation. Moreover, the Demonic Academy's uniform had to be opened in the Life Skills Auxiliary area. Only by using the tools inside could they be mass-produced. They had gathered a large amount of materials during the big hunting competition. It could be said that they had an abundance of materials now, but they had nowhere to use them. According to the current enrollment progress, we can open it in about 2 or 3 days. Speaking of which, I don't know when we can reach the scale of 2,000 people. The resources are too tight now. Just the arena ranking alone needs to be distributed to 400,000 people every month. A sea of clouds said that this is already the minimum standard. I don't have any rewards for the students in the big hunting competition. Sigh, fortunately, these students knew that the academy had just been established and resources were tight, so they had no complaints. However, it would be bad if it affected the students' cultivation progress after a long time. We have to get more resources as soon as possible. 3 days later, the first team of the Demonic Academy set off for the Fenglai Academy. They would study at the Fenglai Academy for a month. Of course, the most important thing was that they would participate in the Fenglai Academy's elementary arena competition. On the same day, the Demonic Academy's Life Skills Auxiliary area was opened. Students could exchange resources and use the equipment here to improve their life skills. In the afternoon, Li Wei led the Fenglai disciples to the Demonic Academy. The 10 Fenglai disciples, led by Ronger, would also study at the Demonic Academy for a month and participate in the elementary arena competition. The Demonic Academy is so shabby. The Fenglai disciples looked at the shabby Demonic Academy. Kai Yin said, Xiao Yun, pay attention to your words and actions. The mentors here are all top-notch. I have also explained the strength of the students to you. There is no weakling. Xiao Yun stuck out her tongue. Uncle, I'm just saying. But is their training space really so magical? Can they be considered geniuses if they can last for more than 6 minutes? Kai Yin nodded. At the beginning, they made a testing space. Many old disciples of other academies have tried it. Even those who have cultivated for a few years in the 6th layer of heaven can only last for 6 minutes. You say that these newcomers who have just entered the 6th layer of heaven and haven't even joined the academy can last for more than 6 minutes. If they are not geniuses, then what are they? What's more, the best among them can achieve more than 6 minutes. Qinglian was somewhat unconvinced. Kai Yen, although the strength of the demonic academy's disciples is indeed good, which one of our disciples is weak? In recent years, we have also used the Immortal Refining Flower Array to test our disciples. Our Immortal Refining Flower Array is not necessarily inferior to their testing space. Kai Yin smiled. I didn't say that our disciples are inferior to them. I just told them not to underestimate the enemy. Don't worry, Uncle. We came prepared. In the top 10 of the Demonic Academy's arena competition, we will take at least 5 places and let them know the strength of the Fenglai Academy. A disciple said. Isn't that right, Ronger? Ronger smiled. That's for sure. We came here to slaughter the rankings. We will take at least 8 places in the top 10, and the first place must be ours. Chapter 974. That's their arena. This month, it will also be your battlefield. Li Wei pointed at the building in the distance and said, Dean, please rest assured. Lu Chen and a sea of clouds quickly came out to receive them. Li Wei saw Lu Chen and smiled. She stepped forward and said, Nameless Dean, this is our exchange disciple. We'll have to trouble you for this month, Nameless Dean. Lu Chen smiled and said, Dean Li Wei, you're too polite. We're just learning from each other. On the side, Blue Lotus suddenly said, Nameless Dean, do you know the rules of the cross-battle arena? Lu Chen frowned slightly and said, I wonder what rules Instructor Blue Lotus is referring to? Blue Lotus said, Although we've only been here for a month, our ranking will always remain on the leaderboard. For example, if we occupy the 10th place, even after we leave, our ranking will still remain there. However, since our disciple has left, if you want to take back the 10th place, you'll need the student behind you to successfully challenge the original 9th place student and push our 10th place student down. However, in order to prevent the academies from letting the students at the top of the rankings go easy on them for the sake of face, if a student from the same academy defeats a student who has pushed her down in the rankings, if she wins again, then your academy will have to pay double the prize for the arena ranking, and so on. Lu Chen nodded and said, I didn't know about this before, but I understand now. Also, if we take the first place because there are no longer any students from your academy, so, you'll have to wait for us to come again. Only then will you have a chance to take back the first place in the arena. Otherwise, the first place in the arena will always be under our disciple's name, and you'll have to give out the corresponding reward. Lu Chen smiled and said, Thank you for telling us, Instructor Blue Lotus. Since everyone has such a rule, we'll naturally abide by it. Blue Lotus smiled mischievously and said, Nameless Dean, you're very calm. Aren't you afraid that we'll take the first place? We won't go easy on you. Lu Chen said indifferently, The arena is about strength. You'll have to fight for your own ranking. Well said. I like people who are so tough. Kai Yen and Li Wei frowned as they looked at Qinglian. This woman was so talkative today that they felt something was wrong. But speaking of which, in their few encounters with Nameless always gave people the impression that she looked weak, but in fact, she was very calm. On the contrary, she was steadier than many people who had lived in the 6th heaven for a long time. Feng Lai's disciple was led by a teacher to settle in first. Li Wei and Lu Chen still had some things to talk about. The two of them chatted as they walked. Nameless Dean, I promised you before that I would recommend you to some other schools for an exchange. Lu Chen turned to look at Li Wei and waited for her to continue. The few sacred academies that we have close ties with are all ranked at the top of the sacred academies in the Xingyuan continent. They don't seem to be too willing to interact with the demonic academy. Li Wei felt a little awkward. Lu Chen was a little disappointed, but he still smiled. Oh, it's okay. I won't force them if they don't want to. No, Nameless, they didn't directly reject my suggestion. They said that they would first send out schools to test the strength of your arena. If they can't defeat your arena's number 1, they will start an exchange with you. Otherwise, they won't occupy the Demonic Academy's arena ranking, but they also won't compete with you. Lu Chen thought for a moment. He indeed hoped that more schools would compete with the Divine and Devil Academies, so that the students would have more opportunities to train and more ways to obtain resources. After all, the Demonic Academy was too poor now. Is that so? That's fine too. Dean, have you thought it through? It won't be a good thing for your students if they are frequently attacked by the other school's disciples. Lu Chen smiled faintly. I really hope that someone can strike a blow at them. I would like to ask Headmaster Li Wei to help me pass the message. Since Dean has agreed, it's not a big deal. After a moment of silence, Li Wei suddenly looked at Lu Chen. Nameless Dean, are you also a fox? Lu Chen was stunned for a moment, but he quickly understood. Li Wei probably knew about his fox ears from others. That, I'm not. That's my skill. Lu Chen casually found an excuse. Li Wei's eyes were clearly disappointed. She sighed softly. That's true. After all, there aren't many foxes left. All right, Nameless Dean, I look forward to you entering the academy rankings as soon as possible. We still have to hurry back to the Fenglai Academy, so we'll take our leave here. Okay. Lu Chen frowned slightly as he watched Li Wei and the others leave. Foxes? Wasn't he a demon? That woman seemed to be hiding some secrets. However, Lu Chen didn't probe further. After all, they weren't familiar with each other. She probably wouldn't tell him even if he asked. If nothing unexpected happened, the team of 10 divine demons led by Long Xiang would arrive in Fenglai in 3 days. The disciples of the Fenglai Academy had already gathered in front of the Demonic Academy's arena the next day. Currently, the Demonic Academy's arena rankings had just been completed. The rules of the initial rankings were very simple. It was to see who won more matches. The more matches they won, the higher their ranking would be. After all, it was only the initial rankings, so the rules weren't very detailed. However, after the initial rankings were confirmed, the rules changed. The current rule was that those who were ranked higher in the rankings would need to defeat those who were ranked higher in order to replace those who were ranked higher in the rankings. Xiao Zhan was no longer in first place. That guy had recently gone down the mountain to buy several sets of clothes. His mind was no longer in the academy's arena. The current first place was his good friend Old Jiu, who had won 9 matches. Interestingly, the second to 6th place had won 8 matches, while the 7th to top 20 had won 7 matches. They're biting so hard. Xiao Yun smiled. Unfortunately, the people from Fenglai are here. Ronger frowned as she stared at the rankings. After searching for a long time, she still couldn't find the person she was looking for. That's strange. Isn't Yi Fan in the top 50? Could it be that he's just famous? Actually, I think there's a difference between a test and a real battle. Maybe his real battle ability isn't strong. Anyway, he's not in the top 50. The initial rankings are very important. It's impossible for him not to fight. I'm afraid he's not good enough in a real battle. Ronger, stop staring at Yi Fan. I heard that the divine demons are very strong. Chu Tian, Xiao Zhan, and the others have all gone to our academy. They'll probably challenge our rankings in a few days. Let's show them who's boss first. Right. The top 5 are currently in a state of truce. They should have just finished fighting. Then let's start from 6. I'll go first. Senior sister, if you want to fight for 6th, I'll challenge 7th. I'll be 8th. Let's take down 6th to 8. Sisters, do your best. The slaughter of the rankings has officially begun. Let them know that the wolf is here. At the same time, a few disciples who were cultivating in the meditation pavilion suddenly received a message. Someone is challenging you in the arena. Please head to the arena within an hour. The disciple ranked 6th frowned slightly. It can't be. I was thinking of challenging the people in front of me when the new rules were released. Why is someone challenging me? Let's go take a look. Old 5, someone is challenging me. I'll head to the arena first. Are you coming? The disciple called Old 5 closed his eyes and said, What's there to see in your competition? Unless Yi Fan comes out, don't call me. After saying that, he began cultivating again. Chapter 975. The news of Fenglai Academy's exchange students challenging the Demonic Academy's 6th to 10th places quickly spread throughout the Demonic Academy. A large number of students rushed to the arena, and all 4 areas of the arena were filled with people. The 5 people who were challenged also rushed to the arena, preparing to face Fenglai Academy's challenge. A few students ran excitedly towards the arena. When they saw a disciple cleaning, one of them stopped and said to his companion, You guys go first. Help me get a good spot. After his companion left, the person came to the disciple sweeping the floor. Hey, Skyfall, aren't you going to take a look? There are so many girls. I heard that they want to kill our demonic god ranking. The disciple did not look up and continued sweeping the leaves. Let's talk about it after they kill them. I'm not interested in the arena if those people aren't here. Hey you guys, is it good to keep such a low profile? Each one of you is calmer than the other. Did you all agree not to go to the arena? Even if it's just the initial ranking, it's good to see the beauties. The person lifted the bucket and rolled his eyes. I'm even less interested in beauties. By the way, when is Yi Fan going to the arena? Him? Didn't we agree to let him participate in the arena in half a month? Now he's cultivating in the meditation pavilion every day. When it's his turn in the training space, he'll also go to the training space to train. Has the time in his training space been refreshed? Skyfall asked. It seems to have been 17 minutes. That guy is really a monster. The training space is one level more difficult than the testing space. Senior Grey Crow and the others can only last this long. 17 minutes. That's not too difficult. As long as you figure out the rules of the training space, there's not much difference between the training space and the testing space. Skyfall, how long can you last now? I went to test myself last time. I came out at 16 minutes, Skyfall said indifferently. You bastard. During the test, you came out on your own after 6 minutes. During training, you did the same thing again. But, I'm really looking forward to the day you meet Yi Fan. Skyfall smiled faintly. Actually, I've already discovered that there are many people in the academy who are hiding their strength. This makes me feel something I haven't felt in a long time. If I can find an opponent, I'll grow even faster. Alright, I'm done cleaning. I'm going to the meditation pavilion. You're really not going? What if someone slaughters the leaderboard? Will you do something? I told you, I'm not interested in the arena. After saying that, Skyfall took the bucket and left. Damn, Skyfall, this guy. Why do I feel that he's very arrogant even though he's obviously low-key? Sigh. If not for the fact that we're old friends and I understand his stubborn temper, I would really want to slap this guy to death. That person shook his head and leisurely walked towards the arena. The battle in the arena had already begun. Fenglai Sacred Academy's strength was finally displayed. What surprised many people was that these beautiful women with slender waists were all quite powerful. The 10th place of the Divine Demon Arena had gone through an unusually fierce battle and barely managed to retain the 10th place. However, the strength of both sides was about the same. The The challenger even threatened to snatch the 10th place next time. Then, the 9th place was defeated. The face of Thousand Stone Bow, who was in charge of this match, did not change. Fenglai did not give him any face at all. The strength of the students they sent was far beyond his imagination. The Fenglai disciple cupped his fists at the divine demon disciple opposite him and slightly raised his chin. The demonic academy is known for gathering geniuses from all walks of life. Why do I think it's just SOSO? I'm sorry, but I'll accept your ranking. The divine demon disciple gritted his teeth and was extremely angry. However, he was still rational. He stood up and wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. He cupped his fists and said, I admit defeat. Miss, you're very skilled. However, I, Qin Mian, will remember today's humiliation. I'll challenge you again in 3 days. The result will be the same no matter how many times you come. Also, I won't wait for you. The top 5 should have rested enough. We're here to slaughter the leaderboard. We don't have time to wait for you. Qin Mian suppressed his anger. He did not expect the other party to be so strong. He could only leave resentfully. The 9th place was taken. Not long after, another victory report came from the arena next door. The 7th and 6th place were defeated by the Fenglai disciple one after another. Only the 8th place, who had just entered the arena, was left to contend with the Fenglai disciple. However, the Fenglai disciple's momentum was like a rainbow. After 10 minutes, the battle for the 8th place was over. The Fenglai disciple won by a narrow margin. He defeated the divine demon disciple and took the 8th place. At this point, the Fenglai Academy had taken the 6th to 9th places in the first challenge. The divine demon disciples are gathering geniuses from all walks of life. They're not enough to fight at all, okay? Yu Yen, who had just taken the 8th place, happily returned to the Fenglai Academy's senior sisters. Exactly. I thought we would at least encounter some resistance. I didn't expect that on the first day we would take 4 places in the top 10. It's really not challenging at all. Kai Yen, who was leading the team, shook her head. Her disciples were not easy to deal with. After all, they were all geniuses and were arrogant. But then again, if the demonic academy was only at this level, the Fenglai Academy seemed to be able to dominate the rankings. All of you be humble. I saw that the battle just now was not easy for you. Kai Yen still needed to pour cold water on the disciples, lest they get too complacent. You are all carefully selected by the academy. Winning is what you should do. What's there to be proud of? Martial Uncle is right. For us, winning is what we should do. Everyone, calm down. Oh, by the way, we can challenge the top 5 tomorrow. Everyone, rest early. A slightly older woman said. Kai Yen shook her head. These disciples were still arrogant in their bones. But then again, since they were geniuses, how could they be called geniuses without confidence? According to the current situation, being a little arrogant was not a big deal. Looking back at the Demonic Academy's list, the Fenglai Academy had already taken 4 of the top 10 places. The names of the outer court disciples were different colors. Looking at it, the Fenglai Academy's pink name blinked. Kai Yen suddenly thought of the situation that Li Wei had told her before. Don't touch their top 3. This is related to the Demonic Academy's face. Many of their disciples don't care about the ranking, but if it's related to the Demonic Academy's face, then it's hard to say. But Dean, if we have the strength, why should we be afraid of them? At that time, Li Wei just smiled. Have you seen their Dean? Do you usually see that he's a master? Kai Yen shook her head. If it's normal, looking at how he interacts with people, I really can't see that he's a master. That's right. Nameless is the kind of person who either doesn't compete, or once he competes. The big hunting match is the best example. But what does this have to do with us competing for the top 3? Don't forget, like Dean, like disciple. Thinking of Li Wei's words at that time, Kai Yen also shook her head. Li Wei was still too cautious. Didn't they come to dominate the rankings? If they didn't compete for the top 3, how could it be called dominating the rankings? Chapter 976. The next day, Fenglai Sacred Court's challenge continued. Today, they were challenging the top 5, and the disciples they sent out were even more terrifying. Sunglow Heavenly Tower. A ray of violet light instantly engulfed Arena Number 1, and within the violet light, a beautiful figure flashed. Violet Chi Phoenix Shadow. Break. Myriad Swords Greeting. At this moment, the battle was between Ronger and Old Wine, who was currently ranked first in the Divine Devil Arena. The battle had lasted for nearly 5 minutes, and Old Wine was at a disadvantage. That movement technique is so strange. She clearly didn't land here, but the disciples of the Divine Devil Arena stared at the battle nervously. Old Wine, you have to hold on. You're the only one left in the top 9. That Ronger is indeed very strong. She has rich battle experience. She set up a sword formation in advance, and now she's using the Myriad Swords Greeting to form 2 different sword auras. The inner sword aura is shooting out, while the outer sword aura is contracting. This attack should be enough to determine the winner. Old Wine was enraged by Ronger's killer move. He roared, "You want to take my first place? Don't even think about it." Indestructible Vajra Azura Swani, 3-faced Vajra. Old Wine's puppet actually split into 3. In the previous battles, his puppet had never used this move. 3-faced Vajra 3 realms opening. The 3 huge puppets fiercely charged forward. One of the puppets was covered in golden light, similar to the golden light body protective skill of a warrior monk. The other puppet simultaneously activated mechanisms from its abdomen, arms, and thighs, shooting out countless fine silver needles. The last puppet directly jumped up and fiercely smashed down from a height of tens of meters. The 3 puppets actually had the characteristics of 3 different professions: attack, defense, and surprise attack, all activated at the same time. Ronger snorted, "You have some skills. Unfortunately, you're still not my match." The Myriad Swords Greeting and the purple glow sword aura she had set up previously shot out, while the other shrunk inwards, quickly forming a circular halo. Sunset Halo, all things break. After the 2 spiritual auras merged, they turned into a strong light that shot towards Old Wine. Damn, she actually changed her move. I thought it was just a normal killer move. This Ronger has used her skills to the extreme. This move contains 2 types of spiritual power in opposite directions. That is to say, it has more distortion power than an ordinary attack. Not good, Old Wine's puppet is in danger. Countless fine silver needles collided with the strong light and instantly lost their strength. As for the large area attack of the strong light, it was simply impossible to dodge. The 3 puppets were directly sent flying. At the last moment, Old Wine tried his best to control the monk puppet to protect himself. Although the powerful beam of light didn't directly penetrate the puppet and hit Old Wine, the giant puppet still crashed into Old Wine's body until it crashed into the thick rocks of the arena. The puppet's guidance consumed spiritual energy to begin with. Old Wine was already injured when the puppet was injured. Now, his main body was directly struck by the sunlight halo. Even though the monk puppet had absorbed most of the damage, Old Wine still spat out a mouthful of blood. The referee, a sea of clouds, hurriedly stopped the match. Ronger wins this match. Ronger smiled. I've finally taken first place. When she passed by Old Wine, Ronger glanced at Old Wine and sneered. The Demonic Academy is just SOSO. Hey, my sunset halo has a burning property. Here is a pill. Take it, lest you say that Fenglai is too ruthless. As she spoke, Ronger threw a pill to Old Wine. Old Wine took the pill. Hey, who wants your pill? Wait for me, I will take back first place. Old Wine just stood up and found that his injuries were more serious than he had imagined. There were indeed large areas of his skin that were burned. Okay, don't make me wait too long. We will only stay for a month. Now, the top 9 of your rankings are all taken by us. In a few days we will take the 10th place. Ha ha ha, sorry, I said that I will slaughter the rankings, and I will slaughter the rankings. At the beginning, the disciples of the Demonic Academy didn't take Fenglai Academy seriously. But now, the situation was different. The arena that had just been restored was dominated by others. In the top 10, except for the last place, the other top 9 were all taken by others. As long as they took the 10th place, the first page of the arena rankings would be completely occupied by the disciples of Fenglai Academy. This group of people seems to be a bit too much. Indeed, when the disciples of Fenglai Academy were selected for the exchange, Marshal Uncle AC of Clouds said that they only needed to get a few people in the top 10. In the end, they want to slaughter our rankings? Are they bullying us because we don't have enough people? Let's send a message to Senior Brother Chu first. Chu Tian's team would arrive at Fenglai Academy one day later. At this time, Chu Tian, Xiao Zhan, and the others received messages from their friends in the academy. Fenglai wants to slaughter our rankings? They took 9 of the top 10 spots, and only the 10th place was barely held? Chu Tian frowned. I also received it. Does Fenglai need to be so ruthless? Damn, we wanted to have more in-depth exchanges with Fenglai's disciples and improve together. In the end, they want to slaughter our rankings? Old wine, that idiot, can't even hold on? Xiao Zhan frowned. Chu Tian shook his head. They must have come prepared and sent the most confident person. Old wine might not be able to hold on. Xiao Zhan's eyes were filled with anger. 9 of our rankings have been taken, and only 1 is left. Damn, I'm really angry. Where's Yi Fan? What is he doing? His hometown has been destroyed, and he still hasn't come out? Didn't he say that he could only go to the arena in half a month? He said that as long as he doesn't go to the arena for half a month, he can earn 100,000 spirit stones. Senior Brother Xianjia is urging him, so he must earn enough spirit stones first. That's impossible. There are more experts in the academy than these few. This is really infuriating. However, now that they were about to arrive at Fenglai, it was useless to be angry. No, brothers, this time when we go to Fenglai, we must teach them a lesson and let them know what is called reciprocity. Xiao Zhan said. Especially you guys, if you want to have more in-depth exchanges, don't even think about it. The academy's reputation is more important. Senior Brother Xiao, you're the one who wants to have more in-depth exchanges. You bought more than 20 sets of clothes, that's really too much. I was just preparing for a rainy day. Anyway, they killed our rankings, so we have to get back at them. That's for sure. Lu Chen was looking at the Academy's panel when a sea of clouds rushed in. Nameless, our rankings were really killed by Fenglai. Now, only the 10th place is left on the first page. I don't know how long he can last. Lu Chen raised his head and was slightly surprised. Slaughtered? Yes, almost. He's still breathing. What about Yi Fan? He owes Senior Brother Xianjia some spirit stones, so he can't fight now. Oh, it's very important to pay back the money. That's understandable. At this time, Nameless, why don't we pay him 100,000 spirit stones and let him fight? Otherwise, it'll be too embarrassing. Lu Chen shook his head. I'm opening an academy, not doing charity. He has to pay back the money he owes. Then what about the arena? The top 10 resources are a lot. Lu Chen stood up and patted a sea of clouds on the shoulder. Old sea, don't worry. I know what those people are thinking. Some people won't be worried even if the sky doesn't fall. Don't worry, the ones who should be worried are not us, but Fenglai. What are they worried about? You'll see in 2 days. After Lu Chen finished speaking, he sat in front of his desk and looked at the list of exchange schools. Speaking of which, Li Wei said that a few schools will send experts. They should be here soon. Our arena is really quite lively. Chapter 977. Yi Fan had been cultivating for an entire day. When he saw that the arena was in a mess from afar, he hastened his footsteps and left the scene. Even though the arena was becoming more and more chaotic, it seemed like it had nothing to do with him. Until the next day, the Black Armor King personally came to find Yi Fan. "Yi Fan, why aren't you worried at all?" The Black Armor King anxiously paced around. "If it wasn't for the fact that I can't participate in the beginner's arena, I would have gone in the morning. At this time, as an academy, how could we care about spirit stones?" "Senior brother, how much do I owe you?" The Black Armor King said without hesitation, 254,000. Yi Fan nodded. With this 100,000, I'm only missing 150,000. I've also earned a bit from helping my junior brother clean the dormitory. It seems like I'll be able to go ashore soon." Compared to the arena's rewards, those spirit stones are nothing. "Senior brother, what's the rush? The rewards will be calculated at the end of the month," Yi Fan calmly said, "but for Fenglai to be able to get into the top 10, it's really unexpected. Those experts haven't even made a move yet." Thinking about it, Yi Fan turned around and left. "Senior brother, if there's nothing important, I'll go cultivate." Late at night, Yi Fan was returning to the dormitory from the meditation pavilion. When he passed by the arena, he couldn't help but stop. On the first page of the ranking list, the glaring pink words almost filled the screen. The top 9 had already been taken by Fenglai Academy's disciples. Yi Fan calculated the time. He only had 10 days before he could participate in the arena. He didn't know if the 10th place could last that long. If not, then the name of Fenglai Academy's disciple would flood the Demonic Academy ranking list. At this time, Yi Fan felt someone behind him. He turned around and saw an unfamiliar junior brother. The person bowed to Yi Fan and then lightly said, "Senior brother Yi Fan, are you also concerned about the ranking list?" Yi Fan slightly frowned. The feeling this person gave was different from others. When he stood behind him, there was a clear pressure. This feeling, even Chu Tian and Xiao Zhan did not make him feel this way. Yi Fan asked, "You are?" "I'm Wu Xian, 3 days later than senior martial brother." Yi Fan nodded. "Junior apprentice brother Wu Xian, did you participate in the arena?" As Wu Xian spoke, he remained calm. "No, this is just the initial ranking. It doesn't mean anything. Those who are ranked at the top are only ranked because they have fought a lot. It has nothing to do with their strength. I don't want to waste time. Senior brother Yi Fan, you still have 10 days before you can participate in the arena, right?" Suddenly Wu Xian asked, "Will you come then?" Yi Fan narrowed his eyes slightly. "You want to wait for me?" Wu Xian smiled. "Senior brother Yi Fan, our Godfiend has just been established. Even if we take first place, we won't be given much resources. I've never cared about a ranking without resources, but I really want to spar with you." Yi Fan nodded. His intuition was right. This junior apprentice brother of his was not simple. Wu Xian continued, "Of course, if senior martial brother doesn't come out by then, you don't have to worry about the rankings. The Demonic Academy's rankings will not be dominated by outsiders. The Academy is full of crouching tigers and hidden dragons. Among the people from Fenglai, that Ronger will probably be able to enter the top 30. As for the others, I think it will be difficult for them to enter the top 50. Yi Fan was rather surprised. Difficult to enter the top 50? Wu Xian smiled. "That's right. I know of experts. Other than you, senior martial brother Chu, and senior martial brother Xiao, there are at least 7 or 8 of them. These people are far stronger than Old Wine, who was previously ranked first. There are also some who are not weak. It's just that, their thoughts are probably the same as mine. They are waiting for senior martial brother Yi." Yi Fan immediately understood. Putting himself in their shoes, he did not care about the initial ranking. If there was someone stronger than him, he would place all his attention on that person. Yi Fan smiled slightly. I see. All right, when I earn enough spirit stones, I also look forward to fighting you. Wu Xian smiled. Senior Martial Brother Yi is indeed straightforward. Then, let's meet in the arena in 10 days. All right, Junior Martial Brother Wu Xian. In the distance, a black figure looked at the two people who were talking and snorted. They actually arranged a battle in advance. Forget it, I'll fight whoever wins. The result will be the same. This person was Skyfall. Skyfall glanced at the arena rankings from afar and snorted disdainfully. Massacre the rankings? These little girls are thinking too much. I'm afraid you don't know that the Demonic Academy's arena will only open in 10 days. The next day, the disciple who was ranked 10th was challenged again. As the only divine demon disciple who appeared at the bottom of the rankings, he had obviously become a thorn in the side of the Fenglai students who were determined to massacre the rankings. However, to his surprise, the outcome was the same when he challenged this godfiend disciple a second time. Not only that, this disciple fought even better than the previous time and completely took the initiative. You, how did you suddenly become stronger? The Fenglai disciple fell to the ground and looked at the divine demon disciple in disbelief. I clearly studied your fighting characteristics, how could I still lose? The disciple's name was Gu Dao. He smiled slightly. Senior Martial Sister Huilan, I also studied your moves. Why can't I fight better? Actually, your Fenglai shouldn't have snatched our divine demon ranking. Senior Martial Sister, tell your people to be careful. Don't be too careless. What do you mean? You should know in a few days. In addition, I'm going to the training space tomorrow. If you want to challenge me, I have time the day after tomorrow. After saying that, Gu Dao stood confidently. The group of Fenglai Academy students who were watching the battle were shocked. This guy was only ranked 10th. How did his strength increase so quickly? And so arrogant. I'm so angry. I was just careless and let him win. Humph, the day after tomorrow it is. I will definitely beat him the day after tomorrow. Just you wait, Gu Dao. Although the second attempt to dominate the ranking with 10 people failed again, the good news was that no one from the Demonic Academy challenged the top few people. The top 10 had already occupied 9 places. In a sense, it was equivalent to successfully dominating the ranking. 2 days later, the Demonic Academy welcomed a few more groups of exchange disciples. There were 30 people from the 3 academies that had previously agreed to exchange with the Demonic Academy: Donglin, Zichen, and Tyrant. There were also experts from other mysterious academies. These 4 academies only had 1 person each. When these people gathered in front of the Demonic Academy's ranking, they were all dumbfounded. Are we sure we're at the Demonic Academy? Why do I feel like I'm at the Fenglai Academy? 9 of the top 10 are from Fenglai? How miserable is this? I've never seen an academy with such a tragic ranking before. They've been slaughtered. No, then should we challenge the Divine Demon Disciples or the Fenglai Disciples? It must be the Fenglai Disciples. What's the point of challenging the 10th place? It seems that the rumors about divine demons are all lies. Divine demons are a gathering of geniuses. I think it's a gathering of trash. This lousy academy wants to have an exchange with our academy? What a joke. Forget it. If the Fenglai disciples can slaughter the ranking, then let's have some fun. Chapter 978. Generally speaking, the foreign students would prioritize challenging the home students in the Demonic Academy. However, in the Demonic Academy, the situation was a little strange. A group of foreign students were fighting in the Demonic Academy's arena. They were all trying to snatch first place in the Demonic Academy's arena. A sea of clouds volunteered to be the referee for the other students for several days. He was so angry that he went to complain to Lu Chen. Nameless, we can't see any more Demonic Academy students on our ranking list. I've been refereeing for the other academies every day. Lu Chern had just returned from the auxiliary life skills area when he saw a sea of clouds' unhappy face. "There's nothing I can do. You can't make me fight, right?" Lu Chern was right. He was the dean. How could the dean personally fight? Then you should talk about those brats. Look at them. They don't have any sense of honor at all. Others are fighting in our arena, but no one is stepping forward. And those students from the other academies, they're saying all kinds of things. I can't stand it anymore. Lu Chern shook his head. Old C, I've seen a lot of people training hard these days. I'm guessing that something big is going to happen among the students. What big thing? Lu Chern said unhurriedly. Looking at the time, Yi Fan should be able to participate in the arena soon. Yeah, there's still 2 or 3 days left. That's right. I reckon they don't care about the people fighting in the arena now. Those brats are all very arrogant. A sea of clouds sighed. I know that they're very strong. But I'm angry about this. They can obviously fight for the ranking, but none of them are moving. Fenglai is fine, but you don't know the other academies. They keep saying that they're trash academies, and that they don't deserve to interact with their academies. They usually walk with their noses in the air. Lu Chern remained calm and collected. That's right, Nameless, the teams that went out have also started to participate in the arena. Long Xiang sent a message back, saying that Chu Tian and Xiao Zhan's group seemed to want to slaughter the leaderboards. He asked if you want them to restrain themselves. It's the same for the other teams. They can't participate in Gary's arena, so they're all holding their breaths. Before they even reach the other academies, they're already making a fuss about revenge. Lu Chern thought for a moment. Dean Li Wei also wants to help us. Although this disciple is a bit rude and unreasonable, at least give Fenglai some face. Leave a few spots in the top 10 for them. Lu Chern added, as for the other families, those who spoke rudely, you don't have to ask me. A sea of clouds immediately understood the meaning behind Lu Chern's words. He didn't need to ask him. Based on the character of those brats, they probably wouldn't show any mercy. The dean had tacitly agreed. However, this was also the answer that a sea of clouds wanted to hear. After a few days of intense competition in the Demonic Academy's arena, the top 9 positions changed. Only the 10th place, Gu Dao, was stuck there like a nail. This guy got stronger the more he fought. Since Huilan's first challenge, Gu Dao had taken on at least 7 or 8 matches. Originally, his academy thought that they could easily defeat him, but who knew that this guy would become stronger when faced with a strong opponent. However, the top 9 were no longer all Fenglai. Donglin, Tyrant, and Zichen were all on the leaderboard. The other 4 Mystic Academy's challengers, plus Ronger from Fenglai, were constantly in the top 5. After a few days of frequent competition, those who could stay in the top 10 were the strongest people from each academy. Early in the morning, a figure appeared in front of the arena. When the Demonic Academy disciples saw this figure, they couldn't help but stop in their track. It's Yi Fan. He's going to participate in the arena. Good Lord, senior brother Yi is finally out. I've been waiting for him for half a month. Looks like the arena is officially open today. Not long after, a young disciple walked over from another direction. It's Wu Xian. It's said that his strength isn't inferior to senior brother Yi Fan's. Today's competition seems interesting. Even Wu Xian is here? Sure enough, they're all waiting for senior brother Yi Fan. Wait, is that Skyfall? I heard from his friends that his results in the training space might be higher than senior brother Ye's. These old foxes. Previously, none of them were willing to make a move to let each other familiarize themselves with their strength. Now, they're finally going to make a move. In a battle between experts, one move might be enough to determine the winner. I reckon that none of them have full confidence in defeating the other. With Yi Fan's appearance, more and more Demonic Academy disciples gathered. Many of these people weren't ranked in the arena, but this didn't stop the other students from discussing their strength. The true monsters of the Demonic Academy have finally come out. I've been holding back for the past few days. If they still don't come out, I'll really go all out and fight the outer court. Forget it. Those people from the outer court aren't weak. We're still a little lacking. This is good too. At least we know the difference between us. We have to increase our strength as soon as possible. When Wu Xian saw Yi Fan, he cupped his fists at Yi Fan. Senior brother, no matter what, let's take back the rankings first. They should have had enough. They've been annoying for the past few days. Yi Fan nodded. Of course. Skyfall shouted, Senior brother Yi, you choose first. Let's clear the miscellaneous outsiders first so that we can fight to our heart's content. Chu Tian and the others weren't around. Yi Fan's seniority was quite high. He looked at Skyfall. This guy didn't seem weak either. He didn't decline and said, Then I'll choose second, Feng Lai's Ronger. Senior brother is indeed a senior sister who takes care of Feng Lai. Alright, I'll choose first, 100 miles quicksand, Wu Xian said. Skyfall said, Leave the third star emperor to me. We're done. Shall we continue? Wu Xian said. Yi Fan smiled. That's what I was thinking. When the time comes, I won't show any mercy. Senior brother Yi, it's still unknown who will win. Let's hurry up and clear the arena. On the side, the outer court disciples passing by the arena were stunned when they saw this scene. What's going on? Who are these people? They seem to be nameless pawns. That seems to be Yi Fan. Before we set off, someone said that he was the strongest disciple of the Demonic Academy. In the end, he was still trampled under our feet. They said they want to clear the arena? What a joke. When Feng Lai's family was here, they were already slaughtered. Now that the experts of the 8 sacred academies have gathered, what right do they have to clear the arena? Are the people of the Demonic Academy all so arrogant? I don't believe it. At the same time, the top 9 on the arena rankings received a challenge notification. The top 9 experts from the 8 sacred academies were challenged by a Demonic Academy disciple who didn't even have a ranking. Skyfall, ranking. Nameless? What's going on? Is this a deathbed struggle? I'm sorry, but the Demonic Academy's arena rankings have nothing to do with you. Wu Xian? Someone I've never heard of dares to challenge me? You're courting death. Only Ronger was stunned when she saw the person who challenged her. Yi Fan? This person who was said to be useless by her senior and junior sisters had finally appeared? Good, you're finally willing to come out. I want to see if the number 1 genius of the Demonic Academy can defeat me. Chapter 979. The God-Fiend disciples were very self-aware. No one fought for the arena. All 4 arenas were left for Yi Fan and the others to use. Gu Dao stood in front of the arena and finally heaved a sigh of relief. F***ck, these people are too much. If I had known, I wouldn't have made the initial rankings. Now, I don't even have the chance to challenge anyone. I'm being challenged every day. Beside him, Gu Dao's friend laughed. Ha 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 ha, who asked you to be so diligent? Those monsters are all lazier than the other. Besides, if you had fought with all your strength earlier, the people from the outer court wouldn't have dared to challenge you. I don't care about the people from the outer court. The key is that the experts from our academy haven't made a move yet. If I fight with all my strength, won't I be exposed? I've already miscalculated once. I definitely can't make another mistake. Forget it. Once the rankings are snatched back, they won't target me. I'll also have time to spar with senior brother and the others. Gu Dao narrowed his eyes slightly as he stared at Yi Fan's back. I don't care about the rankings. I only have one target, and that's him. When Yi Fan appeared in front of the arena, the originally lifeless arena suddenly became a little different. It was unknown how many people's fighting spirit was suddenly ignited. In the distance, a sea of clouds heaved a sigh of relief and said to Lu Chun, These brats are finally willing to make a move. Lu Chun smiled faintly. Who wants to get involved in a fight between kittens and puppies? These people only have eyes for stronger opponents. Nameless, how did you calculate so accurately? A sea of clouds thought for a moment and looked at Lu Chun. Suddenly, he came to a realization and slapped his forehead. All right, I forgot. You're also a genius, Lu Chun smiled. Let's go. I don't have anything to do today. Let's go watch their matches. Soon, the experts from the outer court had arrived. First place was Bailey Liusu, second place was Ronger, third place was Star Emperor, fourth place was Wu Xian Kai Yen. Clearly noticed that today's arena was a little different. Strange, so many God-fiend disciples here look unfamiliar. Are they new recruits? The newcomers often come to the arena. Among these people, I've seen 2 or 3 in the meditation pavilion and the teaching pavilion. They shouldn't have been recruited recently. So many people are registering at the arena. It can't be they haven't participated in the arena before? If it was any other academy, the first thing the students would do upon arrival would be to register at the arena. Only then would they be able to appear on the arena rankings. However, were the students of the Demonic Academy all a bunch of weirdos? Those who had been in the academy for a long time were only registering now. This academy was truly a little strange. No matter what, since someone wanted to challenge him, he would fight first. In the first 4 matches, the Godfiend disciples would challenge the top 4 disciples in 4 different arenas. Lu Chun did not choose to watch Yifan's match. Instead, he chose to watch Wu Xian's match. After all, that guy was challenging Bailey Liusu, who was ranked first. In Arena 1, Bailey Liusu looked at Wu Xian opposite her and narrowed her eyes slightly. Is there no one else in the Godfiend Academy? You dare to challenge me without even being ranked? If Gu Dao were here, I might take a second look. You? Who do you think you are? Wu Xian said indifferently, speaking of Gu Dao. That kid should still be regretting entering the arena rankings so early. You're not Gu Dao's match. Bailey Liusu's eyes widened. What did you say? Did I hear wrongly? I'm ranked first in the arena. You're saying that I'm not Gu Dao's match? If I didn't have time to deal with him, do you think he would be ranked 10th? That's right, Wu Xian said affirmatively. Have you seen his weapon? Weapon? Bailey Liusu frowned slightly. Are you kidding? Of course I've seen it. His sword can only be considered passable. Wu Xian looked at her as if she was an idiot. He smiled and said, Gu Dao's main profession is not sword kinesis. His main profession is close combat martial god. What? Wu Xian smiled and said, his sword was previously damaged by someone. The sword he's using now was borrowed from the martial arts practice field. And his own weapon is a saber. The outer court disciples were in an uproar. That famous nail house was not a sword kinesis master? Did he borrow that weapon from the martial arts practice field? Speaking of which, although Gu Dao had always been ranked 10th, the strange thing was that no matter who challenged him, he would always win. In the beginning, it was the weakest person in each courtyard. Then, after the top 9 were occupied by the top experts, those with average strength would fight for the 10th position. In the end, when the top 3 of each courtyard challenged him, the result was that all of them were defeated without exception. They had already fought for the top 9, but the 10th place could not be won no matter how hard they tried. It was a miracle. However, now Wu Xian had revealed a shocking secret. Gu Dao had never used his main profession. He had been holding on until now with a broken sword borrowed from the arena. The Demonic Academy's battle had not yet begun, but Wu Xian had already made the outer court disciples collapse. You're lying, Bailey Liusu said angrily. Wu Xian smiled slightly. Whether I'm lying or not, you'll know in 2 days. Since Yifan has come out, Gu Dao should also be serious. Oh, not only him, we will also start to be serious. The one in charge of the referee was Grey Crow. The mentors had temporarily gone out to lead the team, so they left this unflattering task to Grey Crow and the others. "Hey, are you guys still fighting? Wu Xian, when did you become so talkative?" Wu Xian stuck out his tongue. "Senior brother, I know." With a boom, Wu Xian's body erupted with a violent spirit energy. The entire arena was swept up by a gale, and the five-colored spirit energy violently spread out. My God, what a fierce spirit energy! This guy. The Purple Churn Academy disciples all stood up and looked at the arena in shock. How can this guy have five-colored spirit energy? And the spirit energy is so fierce. Is this guy really nameless? This can't be real. Five-colored spirit energy can fuse 5 elements. I've only heard of it, but I've never seen it before. Lu Chen frowned slightly. There was such a person in the Demonic Academy? He did not know. What's Wu Xian's test score? Lu Chen asked a sea of clouds. 6 minutes and 1 second, a sea of clouds said. Damn, he really doesn't want to spend any extra effort. Lu Chen shook his head. His students were all gods and demons. The match had already begun. Facing Wu Xian's five-colored spirit energy, Bailey Liusu's eyes widened. She did not dare to be careless, and directly used soul body as one. With a boom, Bailey Liusu was like a god of war descending to the world. She attacked fiercely. I don't care what kind of five-colored spirit energy you have, in front of me, you're dead. Sword moves mountains and rivers. Pan Gu sword wheel. 27 flying swords formed a circle in front of Bailey Liusu. The tips of the swords spun quickly, forming afterimages. Then, the swords pointed forward at the same time, shooting countless sword energies towards Wu Xian. The five-colored spirit energy lingered in front of Wu Xian, gradually forming a five-colored spirit energy shield. Facing Bailey Liusu's killing move, Wu Xian slowly walked towards his opponent. 5 elements void, devour. Countless sword energies collided with the five-colored spirit energy shield, but they were all dissolved. No, to be precise, the spirit energy contained in those sword energies was directly devoured by the 5 elements void. Bailey Liusu stared blankly as Wu Xian's 5 elements chi shield grew larger and larger. If this was a real battle, you would already be a dead man. Wu Xian indifferently stood behind the five-colored spirit energy shield. After saying that, his eyes suddenly widened, and he pushed out with one palm, 5 elements void devour. The five-colored spirit energy shield disappeared, and in a flash, it appeared in front of Bailey Liusu. Damn it, what kind of skill is this? Sword Chi Astral Body. It had to be said that Bailey Liusu's reaction was not slow. She immediately activated her astral body in an attempt to escape. However, with a boom, the huge five-colored spirit energy shield did not care and directly blasted into the void. The five-colored spirit energy shield did not explode. Instead, it seemed to have disappeared into thin air, disappearing into thin air. What's going on? There are no aftershocks at all? Where's his five-colored spirit energy shield? Why is it suddenly gone? Just as everyone's voice fell, the surrounding walls of the arena, which was built with special materials, suddenly cracked. Chapter 980. Crack, crack, crack. The surrounding walls directly cracked. Lu Chen's eyes were about to pop out of their sockets. F***CK, my arena! In the next second, Bailey Liusu, who was in the Sword Chi astral form state, was directly blasted out and fell to the ground. After falling to the ground, Bailey Liusu spat out a mouthful of blood. He wanted to stand up again, but his legs were weak and he couldn't stand up no matter what. Ignoring the serious injuries on his body, he widened his eyes and looked at Wu Xian in horror. This guy was too ridiculously strong. You are a spirit among spirit controllers. There was a branch of spirit controllers among spirit controllers. Spirit controllers controlled some spiritual bodies, and it was said that when a spirit controller cultivated to a certain extent, they could change to a more advanced profession, spirit controller. What they controlled was something more fundamental, special spiritual power. Wu Xian smiled slightly. At least you have some knowledge, but your brain isn't too good. I really don't know why you think you are qualified to touch our divine demon arena rankings. On the side, Grey Crow shivered. What kind of monsters were these junior brothers and sisters? Even a spirit you appeared, and even the five-colored spiritual energy appeared. That Bailey Liusu couldn't even withstand a single move in front of a top disciple of the divine demon arena. Too strong. Speaking of which, as the eldest senior brother, he was a little too scared. Wu Xian didn't even use soul body as one and easily killed Bailey Liusu. He snorted coldly and was about to turn and leave when someone suddenly shouted from below the arena. Wu Xian. Wu Xian frowned slightly. Who spoke so rudely? When he looked back, his momentum was immediately gone. Dean, why are you here? Lu Chen glared at Wu Xian and pointed at the broken wall of the arena. If you want to compete, then compete. Why did you destroy the arena? Do you know how expensive the arena materials are? Do you know how much it costs to fix it? Dean, I'm a little uncomfortable. Dean. Goodbye. Wu Xian ran away like a wisp of smoke. Lu Chen was so angry that his teeth itched. Nameless. Forget it. It's just a matter of spending more spirit stones. Our academy still has quite a lot of spirit stones, a sea of clouds said. We can't really let Wu Xian pay for it, right? Lu Chen sighed. He suddenly remembered that he had destroyed a lot of things in the past. At that time, it seemed that no one really wanted him to pay for them. However, he finally experienced the feeling of his heart bleeding. Forget it. Before Lu Chen could finish, a loud noise came from the third arena. The tower of the arena had been cut off. F***CK. Who is this? Lu Chen's face turned green. Changing another tower would cost a lot of money. Lu Chen and a sea of clouds hurried to Arena 3. The outer court disciples were still petrified when they saw Bailey Liusu, who was still lying on the ground, unable to move. This is too terrifying. Could it be that this is the strength of a top disciple of the demonic academy? What kind of joke is this? We've never seen a spirit user in our intermediate arena. He won, but he still got scolded by the dean. If this was our academy, the dean would be laughing. Is it so difficult to be a disciple of the demonic academy? He defeated Bailey Liusu in one move. If that Wu Xian came to our academy, who could touch him? After hurrying to Arena 3, Lu Chen found that the damage here was more serious than he imagined. The diamond basalt on the ground was torn apart. The protective rocks of the audience seats were cracked everywhere. Just now, Skyfall's sword aura had cut off the roof of a distant teaching pavilion. Damn it, this little ancestor. It's just an arena. Are they here to tear it down? Lu Chen really wanted to cry. Opposite Skyfall, Star Emperor was at a complete disadvantage. His eyes were filled with fear and shock. How could this guy, who didn't even have a ranking, be so strong? He could only take a beating in front of him. Star Emperor, weren't you quite arrogant a few days ago? Didn't you say that we gods and demons were all trash? Skyfall's lips curled up. He deliberately hit Star Emperor with his sword aura just now to teach him a lesson. Skyfall, what level are you? My level isn't high. I'm just 1-star Emperor Xiao. How can 1-star Emperor Xiao be so strong? Why can my intermediate 2-star Theo the Great's attack be weaker than yours? Star Emperor panted heavily and wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. I don't believe it. You're definitely not a newcomer. There can't be such a strong newcomer. Skyfall smiled. Level is just a number. The only thing that can be measured is the level of one's spiritual power. Our dean is a 1-star great cultivator. Go and fight with him. What kind of monsters are you guys from the demonic academy? Skyfall snorted coldly. Yo, now you're calling us monsters? Didn't you call us trash before? Star Emperor, remember this. You can't touch the gods and demons ranking. Boom. A sword aura shot towards Star Emperor. Star Emperor tried his best to dodge, but Skyfall's sword aura suddenly disappeared and smashed down on his head. Damn it. He calculated the position so accurately. Star Emperor tried his best to resist, but when the sword aura was about to hit him, it suddenly deviated a little and fell beside him. The ground cracked. Hey, Yi Fan isn't done yet. I'll play with you a little longer. At this moment, an angry voice burst out from below the stage. Skyfall, end the battle right now. If your next attack deviates, I'll teach you a lesson. Skyfall snorted coldly. Who's so arrogant? Skyfall turned around and saw Lu Chen with a ferocious expression due to anger. He was instantly stunned. Dean, aren't you resting? This stage. Before Lu Chen could speak, Skyfall suddenly activated his 4 strongest skills. Star Emperor, you're really strong. You can actually split open this adamantine basalt. You even caused me to fail several times. You're really on par with me. Star Emperor was dumbfounded. On par with him? Anyone with eyes could see that Skyfall was simply playing around. If there was a crack in this place that was caused by him, he would have accepted it. But it clearly had nothing to do with him, yet that Skyfall still wanted to push the blame to him. Lu Chen's face darkened. Skyfall's acting skills were comparable to his. A sea of clouds patted Lu Chen's shoulder. Nameless. He's a genius. His brain is flexible. Forget it, poor Star Emperor. He couldn't win in the first place, and now he has to take the blame. Lu Chen suddenly thought of something. Old C, you go to stage 4. I'll go to stage 2. Hurry up and warn these brats. Whoever destroys the stage will be severely punished. Okay. Stage 2 wasn't damaged. At this moment, Yi Fan was standing opposite Ronger. Ronger's several rounds of attacks didn't hurt Yi Fan at all. Yi Fan put his hands behind his back and looked indifferently at Ronger, who was panting. You bully me. Ronger flew into a rage out of humiliation. Yi Fan frowned. When did he bully her? He didn't even make a move. Senior Sister Ronger, I just didn't want to hurt you. I didn't mean to bully you. Ronger was so angry that her chest heaved up and down. Then why didn't you come out at the beginning? Why did you only come out now? You've all agreed to humiliate us. Yi Fan frowned slightly. Senior Sister Ronger, you misunderstood. It's like this. Because I was short on money and senior brother came to ask me for money every day, I agreed to participate in the arena in half a month to earn some spirit stones to repay my debt. As for Wu Xian, Skyfall, and the other junior brothers and sisters, I think they looked down on the strength of the disciples from the other academies. You still say you didn't bully me. You people from the Fiend God School are all crazy. You look down on us from the bottom of your heart. Yi Fan thought carefully and said sincerely, I didn't, but the others. Anyway, Senior Sister Ronger, you're still far from being able to slaughter the Fiend God ranking list. You still say you didn't look down on us? Don't be arrogant. In the stands, Lu Chen shook his head. Yi Fan, this silly boy, how could he be so honest? He wouldn't be able to find a girlfriend like this. Chapter 981. Ronger still refused to admit defeat, so Yi Fan had no choice but to attack. Profound Beauty, Divine Transformation, Demon Wind, Ghost Shadow, Holy Buddha, Ascetic Buddha Seal, 6 Paths of Reincarnation. Yi Fan first used his movement technique to quickly suppress Ronger's movements, and then 6 giant Buddha seals blasted towards Ronger from 6 different directions. Ronger hurriedly dodged with her movement technique, but after the 6 palm seals were dodged, they quickly attacked from another direction, as if there were 6 invisible teleportation gates in 6 different directions, causing the palm seals to grow and multiply, endlessly reincarnating. 6 paths of reincarnation. Once this move is used, won't it be endless? The Buddha seals are accompanied by a fierce true fire attack, stirring up the surrounding spiritual energy and affecting movement techniques. How can I break this move? Senior brother Yi Fan is so strong. It seems that if I want to defeat him, I'll need to work harder. Ronger had already consumed a lot of energy before, and now facing the 6 paths of reincarnation, after holding on for a moment, her movements finally slowed down. In a fight between masters, this moment of carelessness would have disastrous consequences. Seeing the 6 palm seals blasting towards her, Ronger still wanted to dodge, but the surrounding spiritual energy force field was severely distorted, and her plucking flower swift shadow was actually ineffective. Not good, Ronger is in danger. Kai Yin cried out in alarm. At this time, the 6 palm seals suddenly dissipated when they were dozens of centimeters away from Rong. Yi Fan looked at Ronger indifferently. Senior sister Rong, you've already lost. Kai Yin finally let out a sigh of relief, but at the same time, she was even more shocked by Yi Fan's strength. How is it possible to control and release spiritual energy at such a whimsical level? Even an old disciple who has been here for decades can't do this. This Yi Fan is ridiculously strong. Ronger's eyes were filled with tears. She didn't expect the gap between her and Yi Fan to be so great. They were both newcomers, and she had never been defeated so easily before. Ronger. Kai Yin stood up. She knew her disciple best. She was stubborn, but the disparity in strength between the two sides was too great. Let's go. Ronger glared at Yi Fan. Yi Fan, just you wait, I will defeat you sooner or later. Not long after, the battles in the 3rd and 4th arenas had ended. The 4 members of the Demonic Academy had each taken the top 4 spots on the demonic and celestial rankings. Yi Fan, Wu Xian, Skyfall, and Han Chen did not use Soul Body as one in their battles. Other than Skyfall, who was a little slow, the rest of them did not last more than 3 minutes. As soon as these 4 matches ended, the 5th to 8th matches began. The unknown disciples of the Demonic Academy made their moves one after another. The Outer Yard disciples who had dominated the rankings were instantly defeated. What the hell is going on? Where did so many powerful people come from in the Demonic Academy? Those people are too strong. If they were in our academy, they would be able to dominate the rankings for a long time. Could this be the true strength of the Celestial Demon list? Kai Yin frowned as she looked at the outer court disciples who were rapidly disappearing from the rankings. At first, it was only the top 4, then the top 10, then the top 20, the top 30, the top 40. They were all God-fiend disciples. These people, who were originally rare to see, were immediately cleared out the moment they made their moves. After a long silence, Kai Yin could not care less about her status. She could not help but say angrily, "What kind of monstrous disciples are these? This is the God-fiend Academy again." The Outer Yard disciples, who were arrogant and domineering before, did not dare to speak loudly at this moment. There were too many freaks around. Any one of them had unfathomable strength. In just one day, the first few pages of the Celestial Demon list seemed to have changed. Not to mention the Outer Yard disciples, even the original top 50 had all changed. Too much, too much. What are those people doing? That is to say, the rankings that we dominated previously don't count at all in the Demonic Academy. This ranking now is the true strength of the Demonic Academy. At this moment, a God-fiend disciple could no longer bear to listen. You're talking about the current ranking? Don't joke around. The current ranking is only temporary. There are still many experts among the Outer Yard disciples. We have to wait for them to return. Ah, this ranking was only temporary? F***ck. The waters of the God-fiend Academy are too deep. I kind of want to go back to the Academy. On the other side, Lu Chun handed over a few academy disciples who had damaged public property to the office and was reprimanding them. Skyfall, Wu Xian, and the others were among them. They had originally planned to clear out the outer yard disciples so that they could have a good fight, but their plan was completely ruined by the Dean. Dean, we know we were wrong. Next time, be more careful. Skyfall lowered his head and said softly, don't make us pay for it. It's very expensive. You also know it's expensive. Especially you, Skyfall. Did the teaching pavilion offend you? But Star Emperor is very strong. Strong my ass. If you try to play tricks with me again, you're not allowed to go to the arena for a year. Don't, I was wrong. Dean, I really know I was wrong. And you, Wu Xian. I've checked the walls. They'll probably have to be torn down and rebuilt. Brat, do you have to use that trick? What if you hurt the other disciples? Dean, didn't you just say that Skyfall was wasting time? I just wanted to finish the battle as soon as possible. Dean, you can punish us however you want. Please let us go. I have an appointment with Yi Fan to fight. I'm afraid someone else will challenge him now. Don't mention this to me. I don't want you to pay for the spirit stones, but you can't go without punishment. Lu Chun said fiercely, the cliff of reflection has already been opened. Skyfall and Wu Xian, you two go to the cliff of reflection to reflect on your mistakes for a week. The others line up first. Currently, it can only accommodate 2 people. The group of people sighed. After sending away these troublesome fellows, Lu Chen shook his head and sat down. A sea of clouds personally poured a cup of tea and placed it on the table. Nameless, calm down. Lu Chen sighed. I'm not really angry at them. Otherwise, they'd at least give me a year to reflect on my mistakes. I just want the others to take note of it. It's also troublesome to have too many genius students. A sea of clouds didn't know what to say. He had never heard of a dean having a headache because the students were too powerful. Nameless, how long will it take for the main spirit vein to open? Lu Chen looked at the panel. The main spirit vein needs 1,000 disciples to open. Right now, we have less than 500 students. However, during this period of time, our recruitment speed seems to have slowed down a bit. There are only a dozen students a day. A sea of clouds said, that's for sure. After all, it's not easy to find geniuses unless we leave Xingyuan continent. Otherwise, if we don't lower the requirements, it might be more troublesome to recruit later. Lu Chen shook his head. It's still too early to leave Xingyuan continent. We haven't even entered the rankings. Let's recruit students in Xingyuan continent first. Let the students go out as much as possible and increase our fame. Alright, how are the results of the teams outside? On Feng Lai's side, Chu Tian and Xiao Zhan entered the top 10 of the intermediate arena. As for the primary arena, we took up 5 of the top 10 spots. If you didn't leave 5 spots open, that group of brats would have slaughtered the leaderboards. Lu Chun asked curiously, what the hell is the intermediate arena? That's a place where only disciples of 10 years and above can enter. The two of them dominated the leaderboards for several days, showing off their prowess outside the arena every day. Feng Lai's disciples really couldn't shake them. Then, Feng Lai's side had no choice but to invite the two of them to the intermediate arena. Chapter 982. After a period of silence, the divine demon disciples finally began to show their might. On the competition rankings of the 4 exchange academies, the divine demon disciples occupied at least 5 of the top 10 spots. As for Zichen, Tyrant, and Donglin's Sacred Court, most of the top 10 spots were occupied by the divine demon disciples. The disciples they sent out were ranked in the top 20 at the very least. One had to know that in the elementary arenas of the other academies, there was no lack of senior disciples who had studied for several years. However, the Divine Devil Academy disciples were like a hot knife through butter. No one could stop them. The next day, the outer court disciples no longer had anything to do in the divine demon arena. Almost all the divine demon disciples were fighting for the top 10 spot. Huilon sat in the spectator stands. She still hadn't recovered from the shock. The experts of the 8 academies had been massacred by the demonic academy. Not a single one was left. Is this still the arena where we dominated the rankings? Kai Yin shook her head. I didn't expect there to be so many hidden experts among the demonic academy disciples. Li Wei told us not to touch the top 3 on the divine demon list. She really had foresight. At this moment, the intensity of any match between the divine demon disciples far exceeded the expectations of these challengers. Is this really a fight for the top 20 spots? This strength is at least in the top 3 in our Donglin. What kind of joke is this? Where did these monsters come from? I heard that Senior Yen Su only lasted 6 minutes in the testing space. Senior Yen Su is ranked 5th in our arena, and he's an old man who has studied for several years. Among the divine demon disciples, there are many who can last 7 or 8 minutes in the testing space. It's really terrifying. This is really the standard of the elementary arenas. The instructor beside the student shook his head. It depends on who owns the elementary arenas. In my opinion, the strength of the demonic academy's elementary arenas is comparable to that of immortal academies. After a few days of competition, Yi Fan currently occupied the top spot. Many people had challenged him, but Yi Fan proved with his strength that his title as the strongest disciple of the Divine Demon Academy wasn't just for show. Of course, another reason was that Wu Xian and Skyfall, the 2 most promising experts to challenge Yi Fan, had been locked up at the Cliff of Reflection by Lu Chen Cliff of Reflection. These 2 fellow sufferers were reflecting on their mistakes. Junior brother Skyfall, listen to the sound of this stone wall. It seems different from other places. Wu Xian knocked on the stone wall in front of him. From the sound of it, it seemed to be hollow inside. Is there a secret room here? Skyfall hurriedly came over. Senior brother, can you use your 5-colored spirit chi to seal off the sound here? I'll think of a way to break out of here. No problem. Try to make as little noise as possible. Otherwise, if we damage the Cliff of Reflection, the principal might kill us. All right. Wu Xian brought out 5-colored spiritual energy. Heavenly Meteor broke open the wall with one strike, but it did not make much of a commotion. Behind the wall, there was indeed a dark passageway. It was unknown where it led to. The 2 of them looked at each other and walked in at the same time. With the astonishing performance of the Demonic Academy's disciples in the outer courtyard, the reputation of the Demonic Academy in the Holy Academy continent had become more and more resounding. Tianjiang Sacred Academy. The disciples we sent can only be ranked 39th. The strength of the Demonic Academy is too terrifying. When Li Wei recommended the Demonic Academy, I was still a little hesitant. But now, it seems that we have underestimated the potential of those genius disciples. Contact Nameless immediately. Tianjiang is willing to have an exchange with the Demonic Academy. However, the first batch should not exceed 5 people. As long as the number of people was lowered, the competition ranking could be preserved. Imperial Sacred Academy, Principal's Conference Hall. It's said that the Demonic Academy's level is comparable to Immortal Academies. If we can exchange with their academy, it will be of great help to the development of the students. And that's indeed the case. Whether it's the previous academy or the Demonic Academy's disciples, it will be beneficial for our disciples to improve their strength. A white-bearded elder nodded slightly. Principal, I'm just afraid that if they come, our ranking won't be preserved. That's not a big deal. It's just like Immortal Academy is willing to exchange with us. How can you not be happy? It's not just 1 or 2 academies that have been slaughtered, so we have nothing to worry about. Besides, the beginner's arena doesn't cost much resources. I see that the Purple Sky Palace hasn't made any moves recently. Let's also make a trip to the demonic academy, a sea of clouds. Etion was extremely busy recently. More and more academies sent in applications for the exchange. At the same time, some teachers also hoped to come to the demonic academy to teach. This matter couldn't be delayed. Now that the number of demonic academy's disciples had exceeded 500, and the teachers had to lead the team out, there was a shortage of manpower. A sea of clouds. Has the recruitment situation improved? Etion asked while looking at the information. There was a period of sluggishness a while ago, but it seems to be getting better now. They have already recruited 17 disciples this morning. When they return tonight, I estimate that there will be 30 to 40 people. Etion smiled. I didn't expect the demonic academy to develop so quickly. Our academy is finally on the right track. What about Nameless? What has he been busy with recently? Etion suddenly thought of Nameless. He didn't know what that guy was doing all day. He's busy with the seal and designing the academy's fashion. Oh, the most important thing is that when the number of students reaches 800, the Seoul Martial Hall will be opened. He's now worried about this. Seoul Martial Hall. He's going to the Zhongxian-gu to challenge the Seoul Martial Hall. At that time, we didn't expect the scale of the demonic academy to develop so quickly. We forgot to remind him to be prepared. A sea of clouds nodded. We thought that we could take a breather a while ago. Who knew that the recruitment speed would increase again? There are so many geniuses. Don't just leave them there. The dean will personally challenge the Seoul Martial Hall, which is directly linked to the dean's reputation. Nameless is very strong, but his physical strength can't keep up with the intensity of the Seoul Martial Hall. Etion thought for a moment, then suddenly stood up and left in a hurry. A sea of clouds, you look after this place first. I'll go find Nameless. When Etion found Lu Chen was looking for information related to the Seoul Martial Hall. The Seoul Martial Hall was one of the most important ways for the various academies to obtain and expand their treasury. The dean had to personally participate. The Seoul Martial Hall was located in the Zhongxian-gu. There were a total of 9 halls, and each hall had a treasury. The deeper one went into the Seoul Martial Hall, the better the treasures one would find, and the more treasures there were. Equipment, skills, pellets, recipes, and puppets could be found there. One could even find baby battle pets with physical bodies. The treasury had 2 floors. The treasures found on the first floor would be distributed to the academies and stored in the treasury, sutra, and sword pavilions. The treasures would be used to exchange for the treasures in the future. The second floor was for the participants. Generally speaking, the participants wouldn't receive many rewards, probably 1 or 2. Of course, the treasures wouldn't necessarily be rare, but they would definitely be attractive to the powerful ones. In addition, the participants would also receive a certain amount of reputation points, which could be used to improve their own reputation. The chance to challenge the Seoul Martial Hall was very precious in every academy. The first time the Seoul Martial Hall was opened, the participants would only have 1 chance. After that, they would only have 1 chance every 10 years. Nameless. Etion went to Lu Chen. Old E, you're just in time. I'm studying this Seoul Martial Hall. According to the information I read, there is no rest in the middle of the Seoul Martial Hall. I don't know how many halls I can reach with my physical strength. I know. That's why I'm here. Etion seemed to be in a hurry. Do you remember that I told you last time that there are some strong bodies in the Jiutian? Lu Chen looked at Etion in surprise. If we can get a good treasure, it will be a big deal for us. Those geniuses won't care about the average treasures. Therefore, you have to go through at least 4 halls. Lu Chen frowned. Old E, what are you trying to say? I can't do anything about your weak body, but I know how to reattach your left arm, Etion said with determination. Chapter 983. Lu Chen couldn't remain calm. His arm had been broken for a long time, and now there was finally a chance to reattach it? I don't know about other places, but there's one place where you can use your physical body, Etienne said. Nameless. The academy I used to study in was close to the west of the Xingyuan continent and the Immortal Master Tomb, so I know some rumors about the Immortal Master Tomb. In the sixth heaven, after the cultivation slows down, if the cultivators can't break through, they will face the end of their lives. Almost all the powerhouses who have no hope of breaking through will go to the Immortal Master Tomb to fend for themselves. At this point, Etienne looked a little lonely. Immortal Master Tomb, isn't that where I'll go in the future? This expression flashed across Etienne's face, and he continued, the deeper you go into the Immortal Master Tomb, the stronger the powerhouses buried there. Over the years, after the powerhouses die, their spiritual chi won't disperse immediately, so countless demons and treasures are born here. Lu Chen listened very carefully. After all, this was related to his arm. At the same time, before the powerhouses die, they will naturally leave almost all their treasures to their clansmen or friends, but they will keep their weapons for themselves. After all, those weapons are their comrades who have accompanied them throughout their lives. Moreover, for high-grade weapons, even if they don't form a weapon spirit, they will have the same spiritual chi as their master. If the weapon doesn't recognize its master, it will be very difficult for others to continue using it. Those weapons are gathered there. It is said that in the depths of the Immortal Master Tomb, there is a sword tomb. Countless broken swords and weapons are guarding their master's corpse. In short, the Immortal Master Tomb is mysterious and unfathomable. In the ancient books of the Sacred Academy I studied in, it was mentioned that in the Immortal Master Tomb, a mysterious demonic creature was born for 10,000 years. It is called the emptiness of gods and demons. This creature is neither a battle pet nor an inanimate object. It is more like a spirit born from the spiritual chi of the powerhouses and the demonic creatures. The emptiness of gods and demons? When Lu Chen heard these 4 words, his expression suddenly tensed up. God-fiend Taishu. Could it be related to the God-fiend suit? Of course, I don't know how the emptiness of gods and demons came to be. Was it really nurtured by the Immortal Master Tomb, or was it formed after some kind of spiritual object entered the tomb? However, the spiritual energy of experts, the spiritual energy of heaven and earth, and the spiritual energy of demons has been nurtured for tens of thousands of years. One can only imagine how powerful the emptiness of gods and demons is. Lu Chen frowned slightly. Old a spirit creature that has been nurtured for 10,000 years. I'm afraid I might not be able to deal with it at the moment. Etienne hurriedly said, Don't worry, listen to me first. Decades ago, I was still unwilling to accept that I could not make a breakthrough. After I learned about the emptiness of gods and demons, I carried a glimmer of hope and searched everywhere for ancient books about the emptiness of gods and demons. I tracked down the records about the emptiness of gods and demons. Finally, my hard work paid off. I finally found a secret about the emptiness of gods and demons in some rare ancient books. What secret? Logically speaking, the emptiness of gods and demons should be incomparably powerful. However, I feel that the emptiness of gods and demons itself does not have much combat power. Once, an expert encountered the emptiness of gods and demons and wanted to subdue it. He chased it all the way. Just as he was about to succeed, the emptiness of gods and demons suddenly attached itself to the left shoulder of a corpse king and became its left arm. In that battle, the expert was seriously injured and could not recover from that setback. However, after the corpse king used its left arm, it exploded and died. The emptiness of gods and demons also disappeared without a trace. Lu Chen's eyebrows were almost knitted together. Old do you think I've lived too long? If I explode and die after using it, isn't that the same as installing a time bomb for myself? No. Exploding and dying might be the result of the Corpse King's spirit chi not being able to connect it to the Corpse King and forcefully activating it. If there's a way to fuse it with the emptiness of gods and demons, then the power of this left arm is unimaginable. Lu Chen fell into deep thought. Speaking of which, he had originally planned to wait for Little Green to break through to become an immortal pharmacist before refining the elixir to regenerate his body and restore his left arm. However, the legend of the emptiness of gods and demons had really shaken him. It was not that the emptiness of gods and demons was very strong, but this guy was called the emptiness of gods and demons. Could it be a part of the divine set? If it was, then no matter what, he had to go and take a look. Moreover, even if Little Green broke through now and he could immediately regrow his left arm, the emptiness of gods would still not be improved. With the emptiness of gods, there was no way to increase his attributes. His physical strength originally had a huge advantage over other humans. The upper limit of his physical attributes could reach 15 times that of his spirit chi, but that was only reflected in the upper limit. If he could not increase his attributes, then what was the use of having a higher upper limit? Could the emptiness of gods and demons change this state? Old E, why are you so sure that the emptiness of gods and demons is definitely in the immortal master tomb? Lu Chen suddenly asked. After all, those are all scattered clues you found in ancient books. Etienne was silent for a long time when he was asked this question. That powerhouse who can't recover from a setback is you? Etienne looked at Lu Chen and sighed deeply. Then, he unbuttoned his clothes. Etienne's chest muscles were severely distorted, and there was indeed a large circle below his right rib. Lu Chen's eyes widened. He did not know that Etienne's body actually had such a terrible injury. Nameless, I did not trust you at first, because I know what physical injuries mean to an immortal cultivator. Etienne said, when I first came to the sixth heaven, I was also high-spirited and wanted to show off my skills. My cultivation level indeed increased very quickly. However, when I reached the 9 stars of Theo the Great and broke through to the human king realm, my physical body actually could not bear the strengthening brought about by the breakthrough. Not only did I not enter the human king realm, but my realm directly fell to the great emperor of 8 stars. The weakness of the human race's physical strength is more obvious the higher the level, the more obvious it is. After that, I searched everywhere for ways to strengthen my physical body, until I found out about the emptiness of gods and demons. Etienne closed his clothes. However, you also know about that battle. After that, my realm fell to Theo the Great's 7 stars, and my combat ability plummeted. So, I became a mentor. Lu Chen widened his eyes. It turned out that Etienne had such an unknown past. It was no wonder that his teaching level was so high. He was originally a super expert who was about to break through to the human king realm. His vision was far beyond ordinary mentors. Nameless, you are the person with the most potential I have ever seen, but your path is harder than others. When I look at you, I see my past self. I don't want you to follow in my footsteps. Only above the human king realm can one become an immortal. If you want to step into the human king realm, your body is absolutely impossible. Even if it is not to go to the Soul Martial Hall, you have to improve your condition as soon as possible. Although Little Green's aptitude is extraordinary, breaking through to the immortal medicine master realm not only requires aptitude, but also opportunity. That is something that can be encountered but not sought. Tell me, do you want to wait for such an illusory thing, or do you want to find a way to improve your physical body? Lu Chen suddenly felt a little sad. The Etienne in front of him used to be like his name, all-powerful. However, the hero had already fallen. He had placed all his hopes on himself. Chapter 984. After Etienne finished speaking, he took out an 8 trigrams mirror and handed it to Lu Chen. I was once unwilling to accept failure. After many years, I collected treasures and finally found this pure yang 8 trigrams mirror. The emptiness of gods and demons needs to rely on other creatures to unleash its power. Therefore, no matter how strong it is, it needs to borrow the power of demons to unleash its power. This pure yang 8 trigrams mirror is extremely effective against the demons in the immortal corpse mound. If you can find the emptiness of gods and demons, it will have a miraculous effect. Lu Chen frowned. Tian, this is something that you have been searching for your entire life. I cannot accept it. Tian laughed self-deprecatingly. Searching for my entire life? When I met the emptiness of gods and demons, I did not have the pure yang 8 trigrams mirror. When I had the pure yang 8 trigrams mirror, I could not find the emptiness of gods and demons. It has been dozens of years. Now, even if I had the pure yang 8 trigrams mirror, if I met the emptiness of gods and demons again, I am afraid that even if I wanted to, I would be powerless. Forget it. I have already seen through it. In the end, the emptiness of gods and demons and I are not fated to be together. Lu Chen could also understand Tian's sorrow. However, Tian suddenly raised his head. The heavens have allowed me to meet you. A young man who refuses to admit defeat, dragging his frail body, yet doing things that even I dare not imagine. Nameless, promise me that you will subdue the emptiness of gods and demons and help me fulfill my lifelong wish. Lu Chen's expression was solemn. The atmosphere was a little too heavy. Tian smiled and said, "Actually, I am also looking forward to seeing you. If you can cure your weakness and reattach your arm, then, when you are in your best condition, no one can stop you." Lu Chen smiled. "I want to know too." Tian laughed heartily and hugged Lu Chen's shoulders. "Good, Nameless, I didn't misjudge you. Keep the 8 trigrams mirror well. You'll set off in 2 days. As for the matters in the academy, since you're just a hands-off boss, we'll help you keep an eye on it." Right at this moment, the door was pushed open with a loud bang. A sea of clouds stood at the door and looked at Lu Chen and Tian, whose clothes were disheveled. "What are you guys doing?" Tian hurriedly buttoned up his shirt. "Nothing. A sea of clouds. Why are you here? Why didn't you knock before coming in?" "I knocked, but you didn't hear it." Forget it, Nameless, something's wrong." What happened?" Wu Xian and Skyfall found a secret passage at the Cliff of Reflection. The two of them seemed to have gone in. I went in to take a look. The end of the secret passage seemed to be another space, so I didn't dare to go in rashly. Lu Chen almost spat out a mouthful of old blood. Was this what a genius was like? He could find a secret passage when he was in solitary confinement? How did the sect leaders of those sects survive? Old C, you didn't know there was a secret passage there before? Lu Chen asked. I didn't know. Before. I was 90% sure that there wasn't a secret passage, but it's hard to say. Who would be so restless at the Cliff of Reflection, looking for a secret passage everywhere? Lu Chen frowned. The Academy of Intentionless has a long history. If there really was a secret passage, it's impossible that no one found it. I'm afraid this secret passage is newly formed. Newly formed? Lu Chen nodded. If it's newly formed, then this matter is very complicated. It might be related to the thing in the main spirit vein, or it might be related to Zhongxian Go. The one who sealed the Academy of Intentionless was Zhongxian Go, and the one who could dig the secret passage during the seal could also be Zhongxian Go. Tian tidied up his clothes and said, If it's Zhongxian Go, then this matter is very important. We can't let them know that we found the secret passage. A sea of clouds. Who else knows about this? No one else. Only Yi Fan and I know. Lu Chen frowned. Why is Yi Fan delivering food again? He's making money, alright. Yi Fan, this guy, was really willing to suffer for the sake of making money. Tian looked at Lu Chen's worried face, thought for a moment and said, Nameless, the matter of the immortal corpse mound cannot be delayed. As for the secret passage, firstly, Wu Xian and Skyfall, those two kids, are quite strong. Secondly, even if you want to look for it, you can't do it. No one knows what's in the secret passage. If you go in, it'll cause too much of a commotion. Even if you go in secretly, if there's a delay, when the Seoul Martial Hall opens and Zhongxian Gu doesn't see you, they'll definitely be suspicious. Nameless wants to go to the immortal corpse mound? A sea of clouds was surprised. Etion, did you just tell Nameless about the emptiness of gods and demons? As Etion's close friend, a sea of clouds also knew about this matter. Yeah. Etion didn't hide it. If that's the case, then we really can't delay it. The miasma and poisonous fog in the immortal corpse mound is thinner during this period of time, and the Seoul Martial Hall is about to open. Lu Chen nodded. This was exactly what he was worried about. He was about to go to the immortal corpse mound, and now this had happened at home. The mentor's strength had been greatly reduced, and Lu Chen was worried about them going in. But we can't just leave them be. What if they encounter danger inside? Lu Chen frowned. A sea of clouds thought for a moment and said. He looked at Etion, and the two seemed to have reached a tacit understanding. Nameless, there's someone who can help us. Who? Li Wei. Li Wei. Yes. A sea of clouds said, Li Wei is a member of the Fox clan, and they are very good at protecting themselves. Moreover, Li Wei's age and strength are a mystery, but I guess that she might already be in the human king realm. Lu Chen didn't expect Li Wei to be so strong. Well, the Fox clan had a long lifespan, and she might have lived for hundreds of years. However, Lu Chen thought about it again. Why would she help us? I don't know if she'll help, but Fenglai is one of the few people who aren't afraid of the Purple Sky Palace. In that case, they probably aren't afraid of Zhongxian Gu either. Nameless, Li Wei will probably come to Divine Demon in 2 days. She should be looking for you to discuss the exchange of disciples. Xiao Zhan and Chu Tian are too noisy in Fenglai. After they found out that Fenglai had slaughtered the people on the leaderboard, they vented their anger in the Fenglai arena. Lu Chen thought for a moment. Now, he could only look for outside help. The next morning, Li Wei came to the demonic academy. Looking at the divine demon gang, Li Wei shook her head helplessly and said to Kai Yen, I told you not to touch the top 3 of their leaderboard. Do you believe me now? Kai Yen lowered her head and didn't dare to speak. Her family's arena had been massacred, and as the leading instructor, she couldn't escape the blame. Forget it. I'll go talk to Nameless, and ask him to call those 2 fiends back quickly. Li Wei shook her head and went to Nameless' residence. When she arrived at Nameless' study, Li Wei went straight to the point and expressed her intentions. Li Wei smiled. You and I don't need to always call each other Dean. I'm really ashamed. If Rong hadn't offended him first, I think Chu Tian and Xiao Zhan wouldn't be full of resentment. Actually, it's understandable. Young people are all outstanding talent. Who doesn't have a bit of arrogance in their hearts? Lu Chen said. Senior Li Wei, you don't need to mind. Back then, Fenglai was the first to be willing to communicate with the Divine Demon Gang. I haven't forgotten this point. I'll ask Chu Tian and Xiao Zhan to withdraw from the leaderboard and return to the academy immediately. Senior. Li Wei covered her mouth and smiled, but didn't say anything. She just smiled and said, Thank you. It seemed that calling him senior wasn't appropriate. Li Wei got up and was about to leave when Lu Chen suddenly called out to her. That, Li Wei. Miss N? Li Wei turned her head. Her long hair fluttered, and her clear eyes looked strangely at Lu Chen. Is there something else? Lu Chen was a bit embarrassed. Cough cough. Can you do me a favor? Li Wei's smile became even brighter. She turned around and looked at Lu Chen with her big eyes, as if she was very interested in Lu Chen's words. You want my help? Chapter 985. Lu Chun told Li Wei about the secret passage at the Demonic Academy's Cliff of Reflection. After hearing this, Li Wei frowned. She vaguely sensed that this matter would have a great impact on the Demonic Academy. Miss Li Wei, if you're willing to help me find Wu Xian and Skyfall, the Demonic Academy will owe you a favor. I'll definitely repay you in the future, Lu Chun said. Li Wei sized up Lu Chun again. I don't want the Demonic Academy's favor. Lu Chun looked at Li Wei and sighed. Sure enough, she had no reason to help the demon god. I want yours. Li Wei raised her chin slightly. That beautiful face was perfectly presented in front of Lu Chun. This matter is a private agreement between us. I don't represent Fenglai, I only represent myself. I promise you to find your 2 disciples, but you, Nameless, owe me a favor. Lu Chun had to re-examine this woman. Under her beautiful appearance, was this woman also ambitious? What do you want me to do? Lu Chun asked. Li Wei smiled slyly. When I need you one day, you'll naturally know. But you don't have to be too nervous. I won't ask for too much. If you insist on not agreeing, I won't force you. Doesn't that mean I promised you for nothing? That won't be the case. I can change my request. With that, Li Wei turned her head mischievously. Okay, let someone take me to the secret passage. But Nameless, you have to remember that you owe me a favor. Lu Chun suddenly felt like he had been tricked. Dealing with women was really troublesome. If it was a man, everyone would directly state their request. That would save him a lot of trouble, however. Since Li Wei agreed, Lu Chun couldn't find a better way. I'll let Old Hai take you there. Miss Li Wei, I'll leave Wu Xian and Skyfall to you. As long as they are still alive, I will definitely bring them out alive. That afternoon, Lu Chun bade farewell to a sea of clouds and Etion before leaving the Demonic Academy and heading towards the Immortal Corpse Mound on the western side of Xingyuan continent. Along the way, Lu Chun tried his best to use the shuttle as a means of transportation. However, due to his physical exhaustion, he still had to walk. They arrived at the Immortal Corpse Mound late at night on the 4th day. There was a thick fog in the area ahead, and there were some traces left by the big hunting match in the surrounding foothills. A month ago, there was also a big hunting match here. However, this place was now empty. Even though the college had issued a mission to enter the Immortal Corpse Mound, no one would enter at this time. Lu Chun set up camp at the foot of the mountain. He would enter the Immortal Corpse Mound the next morning after recovering his strength. Boss, the apprentice said that there is an extremely rare spirit herb in the Immortal Corpse Mound called the Yellow Spring Heavenly Dew Grass. If you see it on the way, can you think of a way to get it? Lu Yi lowered her head and said while busying herself, that, if you don't see it, then forget it. Lu Chun saw that Lu Yi's expression was a bit strange. If it was in the past, she would not hesitate to ask Lu Chun to bring her to collect spirit herbs. Why did she have a feeling that she wanted to say something but was hesitating? Little Green, what is this Yellow Spring Heavenly Dew Grass used for? Lu Yi lowered her head and said after a while, the Yellow Spring Heavenly Dew Grass can help me and Xiao Min reconstruct our bodies. Ah! Lu Chun was shocked. Did this mean that Little Green and Xiao Min did not need to exist in the form of ghost pets? Little Green, why didn't you say such an important thing earlier? Lu Yi whispered, Boss, this time you came to find the emptiness of gods and demons. I was afraid of dragging you down. Moreover, the Yellow Spring Heavenly Dew Grass is only one of the herbs. Xiao Min and I need other things to reconstruct our bodies. Moreover, I don't know if this herb is here, so I didn't know how to ask. Fool, your matters are equally important. Lu Chun smiled and said, Don't worry, as long as I see this herb, I will definitely get it. Even if it isn't here, I will think of a way. As for the other materials, tell me as well. Little Green and Xiao Min had followed him for many years. Although Xiao Min could barely help Lu Chun now, Lu Chun already saw them as family. The other materials are not all herbs, there are other conditions. It is very difficult to reconstruct a body. We don't dare to have too much hope. If there is hope, then let's fight for it. Boss, let's talk about it later. Anyway, we haven't met the other conditions yet. You should rest first. Tomorrow, we still have to focus on dealing with the emptiness of gods and demons. Lu Chen saw that Little Green wasn't willing to say, so he didn't force him. Anyway, he wanted to see if there was any yellow spring heavenly dewgrass in the Immortal Corpse Mound. That night, the Immortal Corpse Mound kept emitting ghostly howls that made one's hair stand on end. This Immortal Corpse Mound had buried countless experts and bred unknown demons and ghosts. It was much scarier than the Netherworld prison. Lu Chen remembered that his sister was very timid in the past and was most afraid of these strange sounds. If that girl was here, she probably wouldn't even dare to enter. Sigh, only 1,500 people can open the teleportation gate. Then, I can go home and see Louis. Lu Chen suddenly remembered that he was still an Earthling and couldn't help but find it funny. It's just a game. Why did I stay online for so many years? Of course, this was just a joke. After all, the current Jiutian was no longer a simple game. The next day, the sky was slightly bright. Not far away, a cold sun hung in the sky. The fog in the Immortal Corpse Mound was slightly thinner. Lu Chen packed up his things and summoned Rhubarb and Little Green. Rhubarb, can you find the emptiness of gods and demons? Tai Huang wagged his tail and barked a few times. As long as it appears, you can find it? Good, I knew you wouldn't disappoint me. Let's go. There was no vegetation on the ground of the Immortal Corpse Mound. The surrounding trees had sparse branches and leaves, and the black soil on the ground was soft when stepped on. The Immortal Corpse Mound was different from the Netherworld prison. The Immortal Corpse Mound only had 5 regions. The outermost 4 layers and the inner layer 1. The outermost 4 layers were filled with demons that weren't too strong, but the inner layer 1 wasn't because there was only 1 layer. The inner layer was guarded by the legendary Sword Mound. It was said that the inner layer was very wide, bigger than the outermost 4 layers combined. The Sword Mound surrounded the inner layer of the Immortal Corpse Mound, guarding the remains of their former owners. As long as one approached the Sword Mound, regardless of whether they were cultivators or demons, the weapons inside would attack them indiscriminately. Therefore, no one had drawn a map of the inner layer. There were some shallow footsteps on the ground, probably left by some cultivators. It was unknown if they were left by the big hunting competition. Old E said that the demons in the Immortal Corpse Mound came from underground. I'd better follow these footsteps. Rhubarb, don't go too far from me. Lu Chen moved forward carefully. After walking for some time, a dense cemetery appeared in front of him. There were many tombstones here, but the tombstones were all in a mess. Before entering the cemetery, Lu Chen saw a tombstone outside the cemetery that was obviously bigger than the average tombstone. It stood there upright. Above the human king is immortality. The path to immortality is vast. How many people can cross it? The path to immortality will eventually return to the earth. In the next life, step on the 9 heavens again. Those below the human king realm are buried here. Chapter 986. The soil in the graveyard was more solid, and some plants grew on the ground. The footsteps from before disappeared here. The area in front was already covered by the graveyard. Lu Chen looked up. The vast graveyard was filled with countless tombstones. Some tombstones even had tombstones, while others only had a shabby weapon stuck in them. This graveyard was endless, as far as the eye could see. At this moment, Lu Chen couldn't help but be shocked. How many people were buried here? Different races, different worlds, different circumstances. How many people tried to reach the peak, but in the end they were buried here. A cold wind blew, and the weeds in front of the tombstones swayed gently with the wind, but the tombstones didn't move at all. It was as if they were telling a truth. Life was only a moment, death was eternal. Lu Chen took a deep breath and bowed deeply to the tombstones in front of him. It didn't matter if race was good or evil. Wasn't he just like them in the past? Rhubarb, let's go. Lu Chen led Rhubarb into the graveyard. Everyone below the human king realm was buried here. Even if it was the 9-star Theo the Great, as long as he hadn't broken through to the human king realm, he could only be buried in the outermost area of the immortal corpse mound. I'm only a 1-star great cultivator now. I don't even have the qualifications to be buried here. I wonder what level the people buried here are. Lu Chen was hurrying along when he suddenly heard movement in the distance. He hurriedly called back Rhubarb and quickly moved in the direction of the sound. Hiding behind a tombstone, Lu Chen saw an open space in front of him. 20 to 30 cultivators were fighting a zombie. The zombie's strength should be around that of a first-rank demon, but its defense was extremely high. Even when surrounded, the opponent's skills and attacks hit its body, it didn't feel anything. I wonder which academy's people are doing a mission. Ignore them. Rhubarb, let's go around them. After going deep into the graveyard, Lu Chen could see some outer court disciples doing missions from time to time. The demons here were mainly zombies. They weren't fast, but their defense was very high, and it was very difficult to kill them. But occasionally there would be demonic beasts, similar to the ones in the Netherworld prison. They had no arms or legs, but they were abnormally fierce. Why would there be such monsters in the Nether prison and the Immortal Corpse Mound? Lu Chen was a little puzzled. Logically speaking, the Corpse Kings should be more like the demonic creatures of the Immortal Corpse Mound, and there were many here that looked like they were from the Netherworld prison. Could it be that the two regions are connected in some way? Lu Chen shook his head. He didn't want to think about it for the time being and continued to go deeper. The fight between the outer court disciples helped Lu Chen attract the attention of many demons. At night, Lu Chen wretchedly made his way to the 3rd district. At night, there were almost no more fights among the outer court disciples. No one knew where they were hiding to recuperate. Lu Chen found a giant tree that had been split open and hid there for the time being. The outer yard disciples are usually concentrated in the 2 outermost areas. I'm afraid we'll have to be careful later. The surroundings were jittery. Lu Chen didn't dare to sleep deeply. He closed his eyes and meditated to recover his energy. I don't know how Li Wei is doing. The Seoul Martial Hall should be opening soon. Many things that hadn't been dealt with came rushing in. Lu Chen also felt a rare pressure. I have to find the emptiness of gods and demons quickly. At this time, Lu Chen suddenly felt that there seemed to be a spiritual energy fluctuation not far away. He opened his eyes. A black shadow instantly drilled into the night. When Lu Chen chased out of the tree hole, he couldn't see anything. Was it a demon? Lu Chen was suspicious. After thinking for a moment, he immediately called out Rhubarb. Rhubarb, can you catch up to that thing? Rhubarb immediately fled into the night. Lu Chen hurriedly chased after it. Etienne had once said that they shouldn't move in the middle of the night. The demons in the Immortal Corpse tomb were more active at night. However, Lu Chen already couldn't care less. He had a feeling that that thing wasn't a demon. Rhubarb chased all the way into the depths of the Immortal Corpse tomb. It was obviously not a good thing to run wildly in the cemetery in the middle of the night. Lu Chen held the illusory black crystal bow and followed closely behind. They had already entered the cemetery of the 3rd district. The cemetery of the 2nd district was for 1-star human kings to 3-star human kings to be buried there. The cemetery of the 3rd district was for 4-star human kings to 6-star human kings. However, even with such a shocking cultivation, it was still difficult to escape the fate of being turned into ashes. Just as Rhubarb chased after the black shadow, Rhubarb's body suddenly tilted. The cemetery shook loudly. Rhubarb! Lu Chen moved and dashed forward. Just as he picked up Rhubarb, the ground beneath them suddenly surged up. Who knew how many graves were destroyed? Skeletons rose up along with the black soil. 9 void steps. Lu Chen quickly recalled rhubarb and used his movement technique to quickly escape. Just as he landed, Lu Chen suddenly realized that the ground beneath his feet wasn't stable anymore. In the night, those graves were like lonely boats in the water, swaying. No, the entire ground was shaking. What's down there? Lu Chen's eyes widened. Judging from the range of the ground, he had never seen such a huge thing. A moment later, the ground beneath his feet exploded again. A large number of graves were destroyed. Lu Chen quickly spread his wings and soared into the sky. He held the black crystal bow and stared at the ground. At the same time, the surrounding outer court disciples hiding in the darkness were also alarmed. They all rushed toward Lu Chen's direction. What's going on? Why is there such a big commotion? Who's still out hunting in the middle of the night? Look, there's a red figure in the air over there. The 3rd district is up ahead. Don't go near it. Why is he alone? Which academy is he from? Lu Chen didn't care about the surrounding outer court disciples. At this time, he was completely focused on staring at the ground beneath his feet. He didn't know if it was because of that strange thing just now, or if he and Rhubarb had alarmed some terrifying demon underground. But no matter what, he had already been targeted by that thing underground. Heaven's Eye. Lu Chen activated his Heaven's Eye and waited. With a loud bang, the ground exploded. A huge figure, covered in green flames, burst out from the ground. So fast. Lu Chen's eyes widened. 9 void steps. At the same time, after the thing underground rushed out from the messy ground, the exposed skeletons were driven by some unknown force. They actually moved on their own and drilled back into the ground. Lu Chen inadvertently saw this scene and was even more shocked. Even if it was the skeleton of a super expert, the person was already dead. How could the bones move on their own? What the hell was this? There really was a ghost. Unfortunately, he didn't have time to figure out what was going on with the skeletons. The huge green figure had already punched him. Ah! Green fire corpse incineration. The huge figure roared. Its huge fist was like a meteorite burning with green flames, and it had already hit Lu Chen. In the distance, a mentor opened his eyes wide. Green Fire Corpse King. Why is there a Green Fire Corpse King here? Uncle, what is a Green Fire Corpse King? I have never seen one before. A disciple asked. Green Fire Corpse King is a kind of corpse king. Its whole body is covered in ghost fire. The green flame is resistant to the fire when the soul is burned. Once it is touched by a skill or a physical body, it will be attached to the body and can't be dispelled. Can't be dispelled. Then, this Green Fire Corpse King can't be killed? You can kill it, but unless you can kill it instantly, your soul will be burned out by the green fire scorching soul before you can kill it. Kill it instantly? That guy is at least a level 4 demon. Moreover, the Corpse King's defense is extremely high. Even if you are a few levels higher, you can't kill it instantly. The mentor nodded. Yes, that guy is disabled and his strength will be reduced. Of course, he will die if he fights recklessly. At this moment, a loud roar suddenly came from the distance. Chaotic spiritual chi. Sky-breaking sword. Chapter 987. In the face of the Green Fire Corpse King's attack, Lu Chen chose to use the soul-body fusion skill. A white light flashed, and with a boom, the ground instantly cracked. The arm of the Green Fire Corpse King was directly cut off. On Lu Chen's body, the cyan flames had already climbed onto his body at some point, and the flames were jumping. Lu Chen felt that his consciousness was almost lost. This flame is so evil. Perhaps it was the flame that affected Lu Chen's attack. He only cut off the Green Fire Corpse King's arm and did not kill it directly. At the critical moment, Lu Chen quickly took out the Pure Yang 8 trigrams mirror and shouted, "Withdraw!" Under the Pure Yang 8 trigrams mirror, The spiritual chi of the green flame was quickly absorbed by the mirror and the flame was finally extinguished. Fortunately, I have the pure yang 8 trigrams mirror. Otherwise, this flame is really troublesome. Lu Chen immediately turned around and rushed towards the green fire corpse king. The corpse king's strength was not its speed. Its most terrifying aspect was its defense. Even experts who were a few levels higher could not break its defense in a short time. The green fire corpse king was more powerful than the corpse king was the soul-burning green fire. Once it was ignited, it would not stop until it was dead. Too bad you met me. Lu Chen snorted coldly. His white hair danced in the wind as the pure yang 8 trigrams mirror hovered beside Lu Chen, spinning continuously. Tiger descends the mountain. Suppressive fire. Boom, 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 boom. A series of explosions filled the entire area with flames. My God, what kind of attack is that? That explosion expert's firepower is too ridiculous. No, that guy is a dual cultivator, an explosion expert and a sword cultivator. But how could he cut off the green fire corpse king's arm? Fighting the rank 4 green fire corpse king alone. Who is this white-haired man? The green fire corpse king's defense was indeed very high. Although Lu Chen did not use dual heaven's wrath and celestial devil astral body, the soul-body fusion and the chaotic spiritual chi made his attack very powerful. However, the 50 spiritual energy cannons did not penetrate the green fire corpse king's body. Go to hell, Ant. No door to hell. All of a sudden, the entire area was engulfed in raging green flames, surrounding Lu Chen. However, the pure yang 8 trigrams mirror suddenly shone brightly. The green fire around it burned for a moment, but the intensity of the fire gradually weakened until it was extinguished. Damn it! Pure yang 8 trigrams mirror! Lu Chen coldly snorted. Can't a single blast of the spiritual energy cannon kill you? Then let's do it again. Fierce tiger descends the mountain. Suppressive fire. 50 spiritual energy cannons powered by chaos spiritual energy exploded on the corpse king's body. The cannonball hit the wound from before. This time, it directly broke through the defense and blasted a huge hole in the ground. In a flash, Lu Chen pierced through the green fire corpse king's chest with his sword. When he passed through the green fire corpse king's body, there was already a rank 4 demonic pill in his hand. In the next moment, Lu Chen looked in the direction where the black shadow had disappeared and disappeared into the night in a flash. After the green fire corpse king lost its demonic pill, the green fire on its body gradually extinguished. The surrounding outer yard disciples saw this and saw that the white-haired, one-armed man had already gone far away. They hurriedly rushed over. There were still many materials on the corpse king's body that could be used, especially the corpse king's skin, which had high elemental resistance and high physical and spiritual defense. The corpse king's bones were extremely tough and were an important material for refining weapons and elixirs. The white-robed man only took the demonic pill and did not have time to cut off the corpse king's skin. Is that guy an expert who came here to wait for his death? Someone asked while busying himself. He only has one arm, so there's no hope for him to break through. It doesn't look like it. Usually, experts who come here to wait for their death don't have any treasures on them. However, that guy even brought a mirror just now. It doesn't look like he's willing to wait for his death. A mentor squinted his eyes slightly. White hair, one arm. That guy, why does he look a little like that person? A student beside him asked, Uncle Huagu, who do you think he looks like? The dean of the demonic academy, nameless. He has already entered the depths of the third zone. Why would he go to the depths of the immortal corpse mound alone? Huagu said to his disciples. Hurry up and collect the resources. We'll return to the academy immediately. We have to report this to the academy. Lu Chen chased all the way. His physical strength was rapidly depleting and he could not hold on for long. The black shadow was very arrogant. After the Green Fire Corpse King appeared, it did not run far. Instead, it went into a cave. It was also because of this that Lu Chun directly activated the soul body as one. Of course, Lu Chun was also betting everything. The Green Fire Corpse King's strength was not to be underestimated. If he did not activate the soul body as one, Lu Chun might not have a chance of winning, let alone killing it quickly. However, in order to chase the Black Shadow, he also held back some of his strength. He did not activate the godly devil astral body, bedevilment, and heaven's might. After the Green Fire Corpse King was killed, the Black Shadow rushed out of the cave again. Lu Chun did not have time to collect more materials and chased after it. Damn it, this guy can't be deliberately seducing me, right? Lu Chun already felt that something was wrong. He used the 9 void steps continuously, but he could not catch up with the Black Shadow. The other party seemed to be deliberately keeping a few hundred meters away from him. He could not see clearly and could not catch up. However, he did not lose track of it either. Unknowingly, Lu Chun had already gone deep into the 4th district. Most of the area was a cemetery. When Lu Chun stepped into the cemetery again, he found that the Black Shadow seemed to have suddenly stopped. However, in the face of this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, Lu Chun did not dare to move an inch. Beneath his feet, the ground rumbled and a tombstone was slowly pushed away. Lu Chun stared at the tombstone with wide eyes. Something was coming out. He took the opportunity to look at the tombstone of the cemetery in the 4th district. All I seek in my life is to become an immortal. Half a step away, I can't sleep at night. The great Emperor of 8 stars, a 9-star monarch, may be buried here. The tombs of 8-star and 9-star monarchs moved. The bad news was that there were still 4 to 5 minutes left in the soul body as one. His physical strength was almost exhausted. The good news was that he still had the godly demon astral constitution, bedevilment, and dual heavenly might. Dual heavenly might not be effective at this time. There was no one around. In addition, the pure Yang 8 trigrams mirror was still normal. It's just that Lu Chun couldn't imagine what would come out of the tomb. In the distance, the Black Shadow directly disappeared into a pitch-black mountain range. That was not a real mountain range, but the legendary Sword Tomb. The Sword Tomb was endless and hundreds of meters tall. In the night, it was not much different from a continuous mountain range. Lu Chun narrowed his eyes slightly. Didn't the Sword Tomb attack all nearby units? Why didn't it attack the Black Shadow? He was 60 to 70% sure that that thing was most likely the emptiness of gods and demons. Damn, even if I can pass this level, do I still have to enter the Sword Tomb? At this moment, a voice suddenly sounded in Lu Chun's mind. Boss, perhaps I can help you with the Sword Tomb. Focus on the enemy in front of you first. I have a feeling that the opponent this time is extremely terrifying. Lu Chun nodded. He held the godly demon Limitless sword tightly in his right hand and stared at the tomb. With a bang, a black coffin burst out of the ground and landed steadily in front of Lu Chun. Suddenly, a deep and drawn-out voice sounded. Who is disturbing my slumber? No matter who you are already dead. Chapter 988. In the immortal corpse mound, a wooden coffin fell in front of Lu Chun. Suddenly, the wooden coffin stood upright. An icy cold air gushed out from the wooden coffin. After all, he had seen a lot of demons and ghosts in Jiutian, but this was the first time Lu Chun encountered such a strange situation. It must be known that from the 5th heaven onwards, the body transmigrated. The person in the wooden coffin should have been dead for a long time. At this moment, a silver light suddenly shot out from the direction of the sword mound. Fortunately, Lu Chun reacted quickly and dodged in time. The silver light did not attack Lu Chun. It just brushed past him and stabbed into the ground in front of the wooden coffin. Lu Chun took a closer look. It turned out to be a spear. Under the moonlight, The silver spear was still trembling violently and emitting a buzzing sound. With a bang, the lid of the wooden coffin suddenly opened and hit the ground. Inside the wooden coffin, a mummy stood upright. Then, the mummy opened its eyes. It was a pair of empty eye sockets without eyeballs. The muscles on its face were like withered tree root. The long hair on its head was sparse, and the light blue robe on its body did not rot. On the contrary, it looked quite neat. The mummy raised its arm and revealed its withered hand. With a light squeeze, the spear instantly returned to its hand. The mummy's movements seemed a bit stiff. It tilted its head and looked at the spear in its hand with its empty eyes. Although it had no eyeballs, its expressionless face allowed one to imagine its current expression. It tilted its head and focused on the spear in its hand. It gently stroked the spear and said stiffly, "Silver Gut, you're still here." The spear emitted a buzzing sound as if it was responding to its master. Lu Chen did not dare to be careless. This person's realm was at least 8 or 9 stars of the human king realm. Moreover, the black shadow alone had awakened this person from hundreds of thousands of graves, which was enough to show its strength. His body had not decayed for 1,000 years, which showed how powerful this person was when he was alive. Although he had no equipment or treasures, and his body had become a mummy, Lu Chen did not dare to underestimate this person. Finally, the mummy turned its head and looked at Lu Chen. "I Chong Ming, do not kill nameless people. Tell me your name." Having said that, he raised the spear in his hand and pointed the tip of the spear. A swift and fierce energy instantly shot out. However, the spiritual energy dissipated in front of Lu Chen and turned into a strong wind, blowing up Lu Chen's white hair. Lu Chen took a deep breath. "Senior Chong Ming, I am solipsistic." Solipsistic? Chong Ming snorted coldly, and then looked at Lu Chen. 7th level of the symbiosis of gods and devils. After the 6 basic enhancements, the battle spirit's spiritual energy is close to 5 million, and there is also the enhancement of the all living things bloodline, the chaos spiritual pill. It's still worth looking at. Lu Chen could not help but take a deep breath. Chong Ming knew his condition like the back of his hand with just a glance. Since this person was different from ordinary demons and had a very obvious self-awareness, Lu Chen naturally hoped to avoid fighting if possible. "I did not intend to disturb Senior's slumber by chasing the strange object until now. Who knew that the mummy was unmoved? You have at least 2 sets of god and demon life reversing set on you, so I naturally know that you are here to chase after the emptiness of gods and demons." Lu Chen opened his eyes wide. From Chong Ming's mouth, Lu Chen seemed to be even more certain that the emptiness of gods and demons was one of the god and demon set. "Senior, you know about the god and demon set?" The mummy said. "In my era, there was a rumor that fate played tricks on people. Only by breaking through the Jiutian would one be able to break free from the shackles of fate. And the god and demon set you are talking about should be the god and demon life reversing set. To break through the Jiutian, the god and demon life reversing set is one of the opportunities. God and demon life reversing set, countless geniuses who are unwilling to be manipulated by fate will pursue it together." Lu Chen's eyes were round, as if he was getting closer and closer to his goal. "Kid, how many god and demon life reversing sets do you have?" 4. Lu Chen did not hide it. God and demon limitless sword, God and demon 9 transformations, God and demon primordial heart sutra, God and demon lotus heart. 4. There is actually someone who can collect 4 god and demon life reversing set. Looking at your incomplete body, it must not have been easy. Lu Chen was stunned for a moment. However, Chong Ming was right. The difficulty of obtaining each piece of the god and demon set could only be described as heaven-defying. For these 4 pieces of the god and demon set, Lu Chen did not know how many times he had almost died. "Looks like you are also a pitiful person who is being manipulated by fate." Lu Chen frowned. "Senior, Why do you say that? There are a total of 9 pieces of the God and Demon Life reversing set. Even if you have great ability and great luck, you can only obtain 8 pieces at most. The last piece you will never be able to obtain. Why? Lu Chen could not help but ask. There is one piece that does not exist in this world. The mummy was not in a hurry to make a move. It looked at Lu Chen coldly with an expressionless face. The God and Demon in the God and Demon Life reversing set does not exist. If the God and Demon Life reversing set cannot be gathered, then it will not be able to unleash its full power. Lu Chen could not help but tremble, his mind trembled, and his body involuntarily took half a step back. The God and Demon set that he had been desperately searching for could not be gathered at all. The last piece did not exist at all? Was there anything more devastating than this? It was as if all his efforts were meaningless. Perhaps those who had once obstructed him were watching him struggle from somewhere, but it was as if they were watching a clown struggling on its deathbed. I don't believe it, Lu Chen said angrily. Believe it or not, I have no reason to lie to you. After all, you are just a person who is about to die. Lu Chen glared at Chongming. Senior, must you stop me? Knowing about the God and Demon Life reversing set, you still haven't given up? Give up? Unless I die, the game will never end. Chongming's voice was filled with endless vicissitudes. Do you think death is the end? No, death is just the beginning. You and I, in the end, will not be able to escape fate. Solipsistic, I advise you to take out all of your abilities. Let me see if there is anyone who can call himself crazy in front of me, Chongming, 1,000 years later. The wind rose and the clouds surged. Moonlight from the dark moon shone down on this boundless graveyard. Under the moon, a dried corpse and a white-haired man with a severed arm stood facing each other. In the entire immortal corpse tomb, the cold wind whistled and the demons were hidden. There were no spectators here, but countless tombstones seemed to be watching this battle. Spear like shooting stars. Suddenly, Chongming moved. His speed was completely different from his previous stiff movement. With a silver light, Chongming held onto his spear and rushed in front of Lu Chen. Spear star-shattering. A cold light shot straight towards Lu Chen's right arm. Was this guy really a dried corpse that had been dead for thousands of years? The speed was simply unimaginable. Devil Beast Sovereign, Stage 4 Divine Beast, and so on, were simply moving in slow motion compared to it. Furthermore, this person's control of spirit energy had reached perfection. Outside of his moves, there was not a single trace of spirit energy escaping. This meant that he had already concentrated all of his spirit energy into his moves. Lu Chen's eyes were about to split open. Even with the Heaven's Eye, it was difficult to capture Chongming's figure. He didn't even have time to react before the gall bladder pierced through his right shoulder. Solipsistic, rest here with us. Chapter 989. A sharp pain came from his body. Lu Chen's eyes were about to split open. Logically speaking, under such circumstances, Lu Chen should have retreated with all his might, in order to neutralize the impact of the spear. However, Lu Chen did not retreat. Pure Yang 8 trigrams mirror. A golden light shone towards the spear-wielding corpse. Chongming had no choice but to use his left arm to block the light. Of course, at this moment, his right hand was still holding onto the spear tightly. With a twist of his hand, the silver pellet quickly rotated, and the spear that was inserted into Lu Chen's shoulder quickly stirred up Lu Chen's wound. Taking advantage of the moment when Chongming blocked the pure Yang 8 trigrams mirror, Lu Chen's body suddenly rushed forward, allowing the spear to completely pierce through his right chest. Fierce tiger descends the mountain. Sacred lotus sword heart. Lu Chen's move was the opposite, not retreating but advancing. It was truly unexpected. However, Chong Ming suddenly exerted force in his hand, causing the silver pellet to fly out from Lu Chen's wound, and with a flash, he was already behind Lu Chen, catching the spear with a backhand move. The power of the Star Shatterer was extremely great. After Chong Ming caught the spear, his entire body was still pushed back, so he did not have the chance to continue attacking Lu Chen from behind. However, Lu Chen's situation was even worse. The Battle Soul activated the Buddha's salvation and saved his life, but Lu Chen's body was severely injured, and a bloody hole appeared in his chest. Although he had cleverly avoided the explosion of the Star Shatterer, he could no longer lift his right arm. Chong Ming stopped his spear and looked at the heavily injured Lu Chen expressionlessly. "You have some guts." Lu Chen hung his right arm, gasping for breath as he looked at Chong Ming. This person was too strong. His speed and reaction had reached the pinnacle. If not for the pure Yang 8 trigrams mirror restraining him, he would have died just now. Now that his right arm was severely injured, it was too difficult to defeat such an opponent. Solipsistic, give up struggling. In front of me, you will definitely die. Chong Ming dragged his spear, step by step. Lu Chen's mind raced. Why was this guy so strong? He had clearly been dead for thousands of years, and the spirit chi in his spirit core had already weakened beyond recognition. As for the strength of his physical body, did he even have a physical body to speak of? This fellow's current strength should not even be 1/10 of his previous strength. However, at this moment, a dried corpse was already so terrifying. It was hard to imagine how terrifying this Chong Ming was when he was alive. Are you still thinking of countermeasures? You really won't shed tears until you see the coffin. No, you've already seen the coffin. If I'm not wrong, you can't use any of your offensive skills. Your only chance of survival is to run. However, in terms of speed, you are still no match for me. Lu Chen looked in the direction of the sword vault. The emptiness of gods and demons should be hiding there. They were only a few thousand meters apart. He was only a few thousand meters away from the next godly demon set. Suddenly, Lu Chen straightened his body, turned his head, and wiped the blood on his collar. Green smoke billowed from his eyes. Chong Ming, I won't run, and I won't give up either. Even if you say that you can't gather all of the God and Devil defying set, that won't change the God and Devil. You're really stubborn. You can't even beat me. Lu Chen sneered. If you were alive, I wouldn't be your match. But now I don't think so. I think you're daydreaming. If not for the 8 trigrams mirror, you would have died just now. Forget it, let the silver gallbladder break your final fantasy. With that, Chong Ming stepped on the Qiankuan and Kuan palaces, holding onto the spear with both hands. No matter what, you are an opponent worthy of respect. I will use this move to end you, and not disgrace your name. With a boom, the body of the silver gallbladder spear ignited with flames. The flames danced and grew endlessly. Immediately after, Chong Ming twisted his fingers and the spear started to spin quickly. In an instant, Chong Ming's figure turned into a ray of fire and shot towards Lu Chen. Spear Soul War Body. Spearway? Fire Dragon swallows the heavens. Chong Ming's speed was so fast that it was unimaginable. The naked eye could no longer catch him. He shot over 100 meters away, creating a ravine on the ground behind him. Lu Chen's eyes widened, and he shouted in a low voice, "Bedevilment! Divine Devil Star Body!" Lu Chen's speed suddenly exploded, and in the blink of an eye, he had already dodged. Divine Devil Star Body? He actually still has a trick up his sleeve. The red flame spun rapidly, and actually locked onto Lu Chen's figure. Unfortunately, it's all futile in front of me. That guy's star body probably exceeded the second stage. Even the divine devil star body could not force out his star body, and he could even lock onto Lu Chen's position. After dodging twice, for the third time Lu Chen used the Void 9-step. But this time, he did not dodge, but rushed towards Chong Ming. Chong Ming probably did not expect that this guy would suddenly rush towards him. One had to know that Lu Chen's right arm was already crippled, and he did not have a left arm. His offensive skills were almost completely crippled. Rushing over now was no different from a moth flying into a flame, a mantis trying to stop a chariot. "You're courting death. Break for me!" Chong Ming shouted angrily, and the long spear in his hand was burning fiercely. But at this moment Lu Chen's drooping right arm suddenly flashed with a golden luster, and a large number of scales flipped over, covering the wound on his chest. At the same time, Lu Chen grabbed the divine devil limitless sword that was hanging beside him. Lu Chen's face was ferocious, and his eyes were rolling with green smoke. One sword. Break the sky. A white light exploded over the cemetery, almost illuminating the entire night. The two super-strong attacks collided head-on in the air, instantly forming a huge spiritual energy ball, illuminating the night sky. The dormant outer yard disciples in the first and second districts of the immortal corpse mound were awakened by this white light, and they looked at the northern sky in horror. "Look, what is that?" The spiritual energy ball, condensed by the explosion of spiritual energy. How terrifying is the spiritual energy contained in this spiritual energy ball? It actually illuminates the night sky like it's daytime? Who is fighting in the depths of the immortal corpse mound? Could it be a super-strong person in the human king realm? As soon as the voice fell, the spiritual energy ball instantly exploded, and a violent spiritual energy storm swept through the entire immortal corpse mound from an unknown distance. Many people had to open their spiritual energy shields to block the wind. My God, just the aftershock is already so terrifying. It's hard to imagine how terrifying the battle over there is. Could it be that this came from the 4th district? What kind of joke is this? The aftershock of the spiritual energy ball can actually reach 100 miles. The white light flashed and disappeared. Everyone's line of sight, because of the strong light just now, was left with a white illusion, and then returned to normal. They watched the night sky gradually return to the color of ink. At the same time, in the 4th district of the immortal corpse mound, Lu Chen knelt on one knee and coughed violently. The dragon's scales faded, and the wound on his chest kept bleeding. The state of divine devil symbiosis disappeared, but his face was so pale that it was a bit scary. Behind him, Chong Ming stood in place, and the night wind blew his sparse hair. At this time, Chong Ming was still expressionless. The flame on the spear in his hand faded, and Lu Chen's silver luster. Taking a deep breath, Chong Ming raised his head and stared at the night sky with his empty eye socket. "Mutated dragon crystal. I didn't expect you to have this. Solipsistic, I really hope I met you when I was still alive. Then we can have a good battle." Lu Chen forcibly stopped coughing. Your spear, why did you stop at the end?" Chong Ming turned around and looked at Lu Chen. The corner of his mouth opened stiffly, revealing a somewhat horrifying smile. "There is no reason, that is my choice." Chapter 990. To be able to maintain a clear mind in such a predicament, using the 9 steps in the void to lure the enemy, making me think that you only know how to dodge the final attack. Chong Ming quietly looked at Lu Chen. Not bad. As he spoke, a gash suddenly appeared in front of Chong Ming's chest. Following that, his arms and shoulders turned into pieces of dust and fell to the ground. "Senior Chong Ming." Chong Ming's words finally sped up. "Dust to dust, earth to earth, this is where I belong. Solipsistic, the weakness caused by your mutated dragon crystal is the result of your attribute not being strong enough to fuse with it. Although I don't know why you didn't die from the backlash, I can tell you that there is only one way to break free from this state." Lu Chen stood up shakily. "What method?" "Find the planet's crystal and strengthen your body." One side of Chong Ming's face had already turned into dirt and fell to the ground. He looked up at the sky. Can the 8 pieces of Demon God's fate reversal create a miracle? Unfortunately, I have no chance to see it. Let the silver gallbladder help me witness it. Solipsistic, Chong Ming's battle with June is enough. Farewell. With a whoosh, Chong Ming's body turned into dirt and collapsed to the ground. Only the silver spear stood between heaven and earth. A gentle breeze blew past, and the originally shining silver spear lost its luster in an instant. The legend had come to an end. Lu Chen walked towards the spear step by step, his heart filled with disappointment. Chong Ming's strength could be said to be the strongest among the opponents he had encountered. Although he had sparred with the mountain people before, at that time, he was weak. Naturally, the mountain people did not display such terrifying fighting strength. Lu Chen could not guess how strong he was. Not only that, although it was only a shallow side, Chong Ming's quick revenge had already made Lu Chen admire him. The silver gallbladder had already lost its original power. The battle just now might be its final battle. At this moment, a green grass broke out from the soil on the ground. Lu Chen looked at the grass in surprise, and couldn't help but think of Chong Ming's words. Death was not the end, but the beginning. A voice in his head told Lu Chen that the grass was the netherworld heavenly dew that he was looking for. Lu Chen carefully dug out the netherworld heavenly dew and kept it in his backpack. He bowed deeply to the silver gallbladder and the dust on the ground and said solemnly, "Senior Chong Ming, thank you." After that, Lu Chen turned around and continued rushing towards the sword tomb. Arriving in front of the sword mound, Lu Chen was already gasping for breath. His footsteps were swaying, but his final determination was still supporting him, refusing to fall. The emptiness of gods and demons was here. At this time, Lu Chen was completely out of condition, but if he gave up now, he did not know if he would still have a chance to catch the emptiness of gods and demons. Standing in front of the sword tomb, Lu Chen summoned Little Green and asked her to help him stop the bleeding. "Little Green, I found the netherworld heavenly dew." At this time, Little Green did not care about the netherworld heavenly dew. She helped Lu Chen treat his wounds with tears in her eyes. "Boss, with your injuries, you can't continue chasing. I'm afraid that if I miss this opportunity, I won't be able to find it next time." Tian had encountered the emptiness of gods and demons before, but after losing the battle, he went to the immortal master tomb many times to look for it, but he never found it again. Lu Chen's situation was different from Tian's, but he did not dare to miss the opportunity. Using Little Green to treat his wounds, Lu Chen sat cross-legged and closed his eyes to rest. He was too tired. After an unknown period of time, Lu Chen suddenly opened his eyes and found that his surroundings were still dark. Only then did he let out a sigh of relief. "Little Green, how long did I rest just now?" "Boss, 3 hours. But what you've been chasing, is it that thing? It's always there. I saw that it didn't run away, so I didn't wake you up." Lu Chen looked carefully. A few hundred meters away, a black shadow was lying in the air. The reason why he could tell that there was something there was because its color was darker than the night, and its body was flowing slowly. It seemed to be a living thing. Lu Chen let out a sigh of relief and frowned. Could it be that guy is waiting for me? If I knew, I would have slept a little longer. Although he said that, Lu Chen did not dare to sleep again. The sky was still light, who knew if there would be any changes after dawn. Limitless, how do we break the sword tomb? Lu Chen looked at the limitless demon god sword. The weapons here almost don't have a weapon spirit. Without the owner's spiritual power, they only rely on their subconscious attack. This subconscious attack has already become their instinct. Under such circumstances, unless these broken weapons are completely destroyed, the intruder will be attacked endlessly. Even if Chong Ming is in his peak state, I'm afraid he will be exhausted to death. Wouldn't that be very difficult to pass? Lu Chen frowned. "Boss, have you forgotten about my old profession?" Lu Chen opened his eyes wide. The limitless demon god sword's old profession. That's right, its old profession was to devour weapons. Boss, these weapons don't have a master's spiritual power infused into them, so they're basically ownerless items. Moreover, they don't have weapon spirits, so I can easily suppress their consciousness. Naturally, I can swallow them, but they're already in a broken state, so they won't be of much help to me. They don't taste good either, they're all rusty old things, so they're hard to swallow, but for you, boss, I'll reluctantly eat a little. Lu Chen sucked in a breath of air. So this was how the limitless sword passed through the sword tomb. Boss, but you have to be careful. Although some weapons do not have a weapon spirit, if they are made of special materials and have a deep-rooted obsession, just like that silver gallbladder, they can still be summoned by their owner after thousands of years. I am unable to suppress this kind of weapon directly, so you still need to be vigilant. Lu Chen nodded. All right, if there aren't too many weapons attacking me, I can deal with them. We just need to catch that emptiness of gods and demons, there's no need to fight. After agreeing on the strategy, Lu Chen recalled Little Green and stepped into the sword tomb with the limitless demon god sword. Just as he entered the sword tomb, Lu Chen noticed that the countless weapons inserted into the sword tomb began to sway slightly. Not long after, the entire sword tomb was shaking. Boss, be careful. Lu Chen nodded, his gaze fixed on the floating black shadow in the distance. That guy was still there, as if he was watching Lu Chen's every move. You want to see me make a fool of myself? You definitely won't be able to escape this time, Lu Chen said coldly. He took a deep breath and continued to walk into the sword tomb. Suddenly, several weapons broke free from the ground and stabbed toward Lu Chen. Then, more and more weapons shot out from the ground. A large number of weapons gathered and rushed toward Lu Chen. There were so many weapons, broken swords, broken spears, talisman dust, magic staffs, bows, and so on. As long as it was a weapon that could be seen normally, it could be seen here. It was like entering the creation space was the ultimate difficulty, but just as those weapons approached Lu Chen, the limitless demon god sword exploded with energy. The sword spun on its own, and the black and white spirit chi spun with the sword, forming a whirlpool. Ha 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 ha, come over here. The limitless demon god sword made a rare sound. A large number of broken weapons were directly sucked into the whirlpool, and the limitless demon god sword had already begun to devour them. Lu Chen frowned. Damn, is this my opportunity or yours? You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.